You're looking live at Daytona International Speedway for the Firecracker 400 live on 3 Wide TV. 160 laps, 400 miles here, replicating the July 4th tradition of so many years in the past in the NASCAR, at the time, Winston Cup Series. I'm Johnny Thomas. Alongside me is my good buddy Chris Wright. Carlos up in the booth. So we're going to take you through all the action tonight in the ERSCA Kyle Hanshaw Firecracker 400. Like I said, it's 160 laps, but the main thing is the payday. These guys are battling it out for, well, close to $400 tonight, which is a big event. Some league races don't even pay out $400 for the entire season. So tonight, the guy who finishes first will get a nice payday of $400. And as you can see on track right now is qualifying. It's 5 minutes qualifying, 2 laps, single car runs, and that'll determine the starting lineup for the 160 lap event. Chris, alongside me, probably been a long time since you've either seen one of these races in the 1987 car or been a part of one. What's in store tonight?
Well, I ran one of these last week at Michigan, got a feel for the car. The update that came out some time ago has made these cars a little bit more edgy on the right rear, but it wears out both right sides over the long run. So tonight's going to be an exciting race. We're going to see a lot of slipping and sliding. Of course, this is on the old Daytona as well, so it's going to be pretty bumpy. You're not going to really be able to go wide open if you're in the draft either, so it's going to be a lot of lifting. It's not going to be that pack-style racing that we're used to seeing with the cars of today. So it's going to be an exciting race. It's going to be a fun race. We're going to be talking about tire wear, the bumps, when you pit, how many do you want to pit with. Maybe you don't necessarily want to pit with the group tonight like we see as well in the cars that we run today.
The other thing you see here right on the leaderboard is the times. I know Chris mentioned the speed, 44.363. I think that's Dylan Thomas in first place right now. These cars are much quicker than the cars that you see in today's NASCAR with the next gens at Daytona. They're going well over 210, 215 miles an hour. Sometimes with a big headwind, you're going 220 miles an hour. The other cool thing is, if you're seeing the cars, you want to know what they are, there's 4 different manufacturers. The Buick LeSabre, the Ford Thunderbird, Chevy Monte Carlo, and the Pontiac Grand Prix. Chris, which car would you want out of those 4 if you could have your choice of an everyday driver?
An everyday driver? Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
I'd probably want the Chevy. I think it's a tank. You're not going to destroy that car. What about you, Johnny? What do you think?
Man, the Ford Thunderbirds are really cool looking, but I'd probably go with the Chevy Monte Carlo. 1987.
And those Buicks will run forever. We have a Buick out here in the driveway that it's got some issues, but she'll still crank. So.
Is that telling for tonight's race? The Buicks last the longest?
Well, I don't know.
Win.
They last a long time, but I don't know how they do in a wreck. I know that Chevy will. She'll take a beating. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out tonight. We'll probably see a blowover or 2 or 3. We'll see a lot of crazy things tonight. I think slide jobs are going to be something that we're going to see a lot of as well. We're going to get a big draft, a big toe, take the lead, and slide up right in front of that guy.
I mentioned Kyle Hanshaw early in the race. This is, the Firecracker 400 presented by basically him, Kyle Hanshaw Racing, which Kyle obviously owns Kyle Hanshaw Racing. And, he came up with the idea kind of last minute last week, saying he wanted to do a special event that resembles the old days of the Firecracker 400 on July 4th weekend. And he developed this, came up with a pretty cool setup, came up with a pretty cool format, and here we are. We have a field of about 20 to 25 guys, which should make the race, I hope, fairly clean. Who knows? You never know in an iRacing event on how clean or chaotic it might be. So it's going to be a fun time tonight, as qualifying is almost over, and Aaron Smith is first with Tate Lytle second. Hank Steinmiller third, Scott Crump fourth, and Cooper Johnson round out the top 5 as we got about 10 seconds before we go hit the starting grid.
10 seconds here, man. It's going to be over just like that. What are you thinking we're going to see here on the start of this race, Johnny? These guys going to go full bore here and try to send it. We're going to see a little bit of a courteous start with the smaller field that we've got here tonight.
Well, if they're if they're smart, if they're smart, there's 160 laps, there's 400 miles. Why not take it easy with the field this small? But as you know, Chris, it's a lot easier to say that. This is looks like we're restarting here on the backstretch, or starting on the backstretch.
Yeah, and it will be interesting because you will be able to save a lot of fuel if you choose to run in. The leader's going to burn a lot of fuel. Those guys that are second, third on back, if they are willing to be patient, they will be able to save a bunch of fuel.
Yeah, so what we're going to see here, here's the starting lineup. Byers in 7th, White in 8th, Dylan Thomas 9th, Richard Lafferty 10th. Apologize for missing the top 6 here. Gerald Campbell 11th. James D. Miller in 12th. Matt Gruenberg 13th, Chad Frankenfield and the Philadelphia Eagles Ford in 14th. That's Joseph Sullivan in 15th.
Hey, wait, I
And
made that.
David E. Duke in 16th.
Wait, I made that paint scheme a long time ago. Wait, that's wrong. I think I have a feeling some
Sheridan Wade 17th and old Kyle Hanshaw routing out the field.
The Tops car looks sweet. I don't know if that was the JIT or not.
I think that's a graphical issue.
Yeah, it gets tight.
So here we go. Well, not yet.
Yeah,
here we go. Pace car's pulling off.
And be careful if someone's on your asset and they take.
Gonna be exciting. I've heard a lot of guys
Yes,
too,
it
Johnny,
will.
talk about if somebody pulls up on you, it really gets the car loose, and you got these little tiny spoilers on this thing. Not a whole lot of downforce on these race cars.
Nah, that's the crazy part about this. Back in 1987, these guys were wheeling this thing. Downforce, not so much.
Yeah, just like you mentioned there, 87, these boys were wheeling these things. You actually had to drive them. The driver made a big difference. Nowadays, it's a crew chief game. But not tonight. You got to pick the win, Johnny. I think Tate Lytle's going to be pretty good myself, but I'll let you pick first.
I'm going to go with Gerald Campbell. He was fast back in the day when we used to race these things almost on a weekly basis. Here we go. Pace car making its way down pit road. Aaron Smith with the green flag. They're off and running. Firecracker 400 style.
Good start there for most of the guys too. Nothing too crazy, nobody pulling out of line, very cordial.
Tate Lytle side by side with Aaron Smith right now. That top side will probably be the most effective way around the racetrack, as that's what the momentum tends to seem to be coming out of turns 2 and turns 4.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to balance that with how much you're going to use the tires up, running that high side, a little bit more center corner speed. You're going to lean on that right front just a little bit more.
Scott Crump, Tate Lytle,
already
lap
over 200
1
miles.
completed, and it's Scott Crump.
See how bumpy this track is through the middle of the corner, especially down in the bottom groove. You see these cars just bouncing, moving, and whatnot. And you feel that in the seat. It doesn't look terrible from the outside view, but when you're in that race car, it feels like you're driving to the edge.
We talked to Tate Lytle earlier in the race, earlier in practice, and he said the right front and the right rear was really wearing, that you had to take it easy on these tires. The guys have 5 sets of tires tonight. So as the race goes on, if you're anticipating a long run with this low car count, what do you think's in store? You know, are you going to go hard, Chris, or are you going to take it easy?
We got 160 laps, so I would probably want to take it a little bit easy here at the start, save some fuel, extend the life of my tires, extend the fuel run as far as I can, because like we talked about, it's not going to be detrimental to pit by yourself because of having to lift in the corners. Now, you're still faster in a pack, But if you're by yourself on fresh tires and the pack's got 30 laps on their tires, you're not giving up much, if any, time at that point. So, oh, we got a slider. William White.
William White gets loose through the infield. Keeps it going. Amazing save by William White. He'll get to the tail end of the pack, but his car is in one piece.
That's great driving there by William White. That's if you get these things backwards at that speed, it's very common to see them blow over. So the fact that he was able to get it straightened out without doing any kind of spin or having anything detrimental there. And I'm sure even if there is long green flag runs, we will see a caution at some point.
Right now, it's still, well, actually, Scott Crump about to get passed by Aaron Smith. Or is that actually, that's Mitch Trunowski. Unfamiliar name to ERSCA or Elite. Mitch Trunowski takes the lead on lap 5.
Wow, look at that. As we take a look at that replay, just driving through those bumps with a lot of wheel in it, just snapped on him. What a catch. What a job by Mr. William White.
You notice he was running a little bit lower than those other guys. Does that have something to do with it? Is it more bumpier, you know, in 3 and 4 all the way to the bottom?
I just feel like around this racetrack in general, and I know you've driven around this racetrack as well, that the lower you are, the more bumpy it is. It is less bumpy up top, but you kind of got to balance that with wearing the tires out. And if you're going to move up the racetrack on the sim, it's for some reason, whether you're taking it easy or not, on the sim, the higher you run at any track, the more you're wearing out your tires.
Lap 6, we mentioned if the guys were going to take it easy so far. We don't pay out to lap 10 leader or lap 20 leader. We just pay out to the lap 160 leader, but these guys are still side by side. It's Jeff Byers down low, Mitch Dranowski up top.
Yeah, great battles here. I mean, you look at these guys, 2 distinct lanes. Tate's kind of sitting on back there, just taking a look as he's now going to pull up there to the inside of the 09, and we are 2 by 2 up here for the first 6 spots. Some great looking cars too. Somebody's driving an RC Cooler car out here, I believe. Is that the 8 machine? Richard Lafferty. What a great looking throwback scheme.
Tate Lytle holding a pretty steering wheel right now. Yeah, for a one-off event, you know, these guys did put quite a bit of effort into it. You know, you see Tate Lytle with his Days Gone By paint scheme. You see Chad Frankenfield with his Philadelphia Eagles paint scheme. Richard, Chris, you mentioned with RC Cola.
I reckon.
And there's a crash, almost a blowover. It's Jeff Byers into the wall. 78 car, hard into the wall. First major accident of the night, as Gerald Campbell's actually still losing it. Hopefully he didn't get any. He's still fighting it there on the grass. But lap number 8 of the 160 lap event, the leaders crash.
Man, that is unfortunate. I think Scott Crump's the trigger car here. Just running hard there, Johnny. You're going to see he pulls up, tries to bump draft. And you can't bump draft right there when the cars are moving around like that.
Not at all. Do you think it's an experience factor, Chris, with these cars? This is something. This is a car or a series that you don't run too often. You know, is this just not knowing the limits?
I mean, it could be, but at the same time, like we just talked about, we're 7 laps into a 160 lap race. Let's work ourselves up to it. I will say one thing that happened there. You saw those cars going through the grass. Somebody's driving a Back to the Future car, and it looked like he went back in time. Right there through the grass. He
also Gerald Campbell there.
Just unfortunate, you know, because that's 4 of our top 5 cars right there. Everybody else does a great job getting loaded up, getting left, and whatnot. But
I like to see there was an unfortunate guy that got into that. I think it was the 78, maybe David Duke. You know, getting clipped right at the end. And I think it was from the 45 of Jeff Byers.
Just unfortunate to have your event end this early for some of these guys.
No.
And we are
09.
seeing a real struggle in the pit road here. Guys sliding through. These guys, you know, this is their first pit stop with these cars, and
The brakes don't work too good.
yeah, they went to the brakes and they just started sliding. I believe everyone pitted here as well. Looks like Joseph Sullivan is
So
going to be
right
on the
now, yeah, Joseph Sullivan decides not to pit, does not take one of his 5 sets of tires. Sheridan Wade did not get to start the event. He is being shown 18th and out. And then we'll get a better idea on whose day is done from that wreck. I'd pretty much guarantee that the 78 is done along with Byers potentially.
And I will say this, I don't think anybody took tires there. Looking at the guys that came off pit road here in the top 10, looked like it was all fuel only. Nobody opted to use one of those sets of tires there that was running up at the front. This was just strictly to top off the fuel tank.
And if you guys are following along with us on YouTube as well as watching the NASCAR race, they're back under caution.
No rain here tonight. We're not going to get any weather tonight.
Although, Chris, it looks cloudy. Do you see it over there?
Do you want it to rain? It would be very interesting out here in the rain. We don't have those tires to put on the car. We got some toppers here too. We got guys coming down to top off the fuel tank. So it almost makes me wonder, are we in some kind of strategy window and these guys think it's going to go green here the rest of the way?
I'm guessing with, you know, the more horsepower, the higher speeds, that you're not going to run as long as you do in an Xfinity or a next-gen car. And typically at Daytona, it's anywhere from, you know, 30 to 40 laps. So we'll see how long these guys can go on a tank of fuel. I'm guessing it's similar to that, you know, 25 to 30 laps on a tank, maybe even more.
Yeah, I would think that they could go further, right? Because you're not going to be carving as big of a hole in the air.
I also think the tanks were bigger too back in the day.
Yeah, and bigger tanks and whatnot. So I think we might be able to see 45 or so, 40, 45 maybe. Maybe if you're saving, you can get it to 50.
Currently, looks like everybody's still running. Richard Lafferty making his comeback. He's in pit road, but he should be coming out. I don't think he had any damage.
And you know, I just mentioned maybe you could get to 50. Well, there is 150 laps to go right now. So if you could somehow get to 50 laps to run, then that works out pretty good for you.
Then yeah,
that makes sense why these guys are top.
These cars are fun, Chris. You know, when they first introduced them, they were a humongous hit. You know, everybody was participating, and I think they kind of went away a little bit in popularity just because of the difficulty. You know, these things are a handful to drive, whether you're Daytona, Martinsville, Rockingham, Michigan, it doesn't matter. It's a handful. So the harder the drive, I think the less, you know, participation has happened over the course of the last couple of years, but still a good time.
Yeah, and I know myself and Nick Massey used to run a lot of these races until they changed them in the update, and they kind of tightened the cars up, and I felt like took away some of the fun, but we're getting ready to go green once again.
Pace car off, green flag, and it's Joseph Sullivan up front, not pitting, in the lead.
He is one that does not want to see us run to the end without a caution. He did not get fuel there. He wants to see a caution again in about 10 or 15 laps.
Current update on Richard Lafferty. We noticed he was in the pits. He's currently shown 1 lap down.
And our Lone Ranger that stayed out has now been shuffled from the lead up here at the front.
As Mitch Drunowski makes quick work of Joseph Sullivan. Tate Lytle on the outside. Mitch. Actually, that is Matt Gruber. Who is that on the outside with Tate Lytle? Or is that William White?
Well, there you go, William White.
See the camera view of Scott Crump on board with Scott in second. You kind of, Chris, you can kind of see the bumps as Scott kind of goes over them with the wheel. It's a good representation as you're going to see him go down into turn 3.
Yeah, and it's very bumpy, and you see these guys, a lot more room given right here. Some guys struggle here, and being, you mentioned Sheridan Wade, Richard Lafferty showing the lap down here.
Scott Crump representing ERSCA with the OG hat. Love to see it.
And I got to think Scott's going to be a factor in the finish of this race. He's learned his lesson about pushing and how hard you can push and where you can push. I got to think he's going to be a factor. It's going to come down to some version of him and Tate Lytle are going to be involved in the finish of this race.
And here he goes, Scott Crump on the inside of Jernowski, takes it down into turn 3. Let's see if he sends it up and slides up. He stays low. Jernowski with the runoff of 4. Should be able to clear Scott Crump, and here comes William White. Remember William back on lap number 3 with the big save and the big slide. He's back up to 3rd.
Yeah, William got away with one, and now he's back up here like you mentioned, so he has figured out the speed, figured out the pit stop, gotten his track position back, and does not want to make that same mistake twice. It always feels good as a driver, Johnny, and you know this, when you can make a mistake, learn from it, and get hurt because of it.
You only get so many chances of that, Chris. You know how it is typically when you make one mistake or somebody makes a mistake in front of you and your day's done. But, you kind of feel like you have a second chance of life when you have an incident and you come out scotch-free. So, and the pressure goes down. I feel like the nerves go completely away after that happens.
100%. And now we're racing again up here at the front, side by side for the lead. Everybody else looks content to ride in line. Nobody's really pulling out of line up there in that front group.
Yeah, Jernowski went way topside as Scott Crump does eventually get by him. William White, we got a car off the base. Nope, just with a big slide. I think that's Hank Steinmiller.
That's a name we don't hear too much of anymore. Hank Steinmiller was always a factor in some of those races. I think he's really good on the dirt stuff too, so some of that might come into play here. A lot of guys say that this compares to the dirt just a little bit with how you have to drive them a little bit sideways.
Yeah, it's good to see Hank back. He was a normal participant in the elite racing leagues as well as ERSCA for many, many years. And Hank, just like ERSCA's making a one-off, Hank's making a one-off. Another guy, into the wall. I think that was Miller, James Miller, hard into the outside wall. Gonna lose some ground as Chad Frankenfield goes by. Chad making his way up. He's currently 8th.
I think he'll be all right. I think a lot of these guys realize these cars are tanks when it comes to some contact like that and side-to-side contact. Unless you bend something in, I think it's going to be all right. And here we go. Look at the outside of Scott.
Jernowski tried to go topside again as Scott Crump, but Scott would not allow it. Shuts the door on him. Here comes William White.
Now, what do you think Scott's thinking right here? He pushed a guy and split him out. Do you think he's thinking, hey, push on me on the straightaway, or
well, I hope he saw what he did, Chris. So I would suggest that I probably wouldn't do that. But who knows?
At least not yet, anyway, right?
I'm also wondering, I see William White, who's in the back. I see Jeff Byers, who's, involved in that crash, one of the main culprits, or the main, I guess, the guy that got the worst of it. And I wonder if these guys took tires, if that's how they're making their way up here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know a lot of the guys up at the front did not, so I don't know. I would think that maybe most of them didn't. That was
another big move by Hank Steinmiller. Again, I think he went 3 wide on Kyle Hanshaw. as these guys are getting higher and higher on the racetrack as their tires start to wear. Typically when that happens, Chris, just from experience watching these things for many, many years, when you're getting higher and higher, the cars are getting tighter and tighter.
Yeah, and when it gets tighter and tighter, you got all that wheel into it, and these things are notorious for having all that wheel into it, and all of a sudden, she just snaps me.
As another lead change, it's Mitch Drunowski gets by Scott Crump. Scott does the crossover on the bottom. Let's see if Dylan Thomas, let's see if William White does anything with it. Dylan Thomas, another name that is familiar with the ranks of the Elite Racing Leagues and ERSCA. Dylan frequently does these cars. He's one of the more experienced guys in the 87 series, so look for his name up there if he can survive the calamity.
And when I think about somebody who can drive a low grip race car, I mean, I saw what he did in the ERSCA season, the last ERSCA season that you guys ran with the Gen 4 cars. Dylan was a factor in nearly every race. I believe he won the championship, right? If I remember correctly.
The championship, I'm sorry, Chris, what series?
And you're in the last ERSCA season.
That was actually Cam. Yeah, Cam ended up winning the series in the Gen 4. Or actually, it wasn't the Gen 4 cars.
I just remember Dylan was a factor in a lot of those races. So it does not surprise me that he's
And you mentioned the conversion of dirt racing applying to these type of cars. That's what Dylan does most of the time during his course of his iRacing career or life. Is he's always on the dirt side of things.
I don't know about you, Johnny, but when I'm out there on dirt, I'm probably the slowest guy there. I am the guy that looks out of place.
What's your average finish? Not too good?
Last. Whatever the last place finish is right there. If there's 13 cars out there, I'm in 13th.
Quick update on the NASCAR side of things. Looks like they're under caution again. Kyle Larson has went head first into the tire barrier. Looks like his day is done.
Yeah, it looked like he was pretty frustrated too. I thought he was going to catch the car on fire trying to pull it out of there.
Here comes William White down on the bottom again, trying to pass Drunowski. Drunowski, I think that's a Stroker Ace replica scheme, I'm pretty sure. Pretty nice.
I'm not sure.
He looks like one.
I have never seen a Stroker Ace.
You've never seen Stroker Ace, Chris?
I have not. I am a big fan
you
of
gotta watch it. Are you a big fan of Burt Reynolds?
Oh yeah, Burt Reynolds is awesome.
Look at that camera shot. Dang.
Look at that car bouncing. Look at that 7 car just over those bumps bouncing.
Yeah, this shock suspension. Oh, that's close.
Oh my goodness.
Oh. You are
I think he
riding
knows we're looking.
right on board of that 7 car.
Oh, and things have went bad from bad to worse for Kyle Larson. He has wrecked again trying to get back to pit road.
Drunowski underneath Scott Crump.
William White just had a moment back there as well. On the bottom again, got loose out of turn 2, but he was able to, maybe he felt that one coming a little bit better.
The man who he thought his day was done, Jeff Byers, now up to second, pushing that 7 car. He's going to try to look to the inside potentially as the 7 car shuts the door. Oh, they make contact in 4th.
Wow.
Big save by Dylan Thomas and James Miller as they make contact out of turn 4. Get a little sideways, but keeps on trucking.
I'm pretty sure they got away with something there that probably won't happen again and not crash.
And it looks like Dylan Thomas hits the wall again going down the backstretch.
But we got tandem here. They are tandem pushing each other here.
Scott Crump getting pushed by the guy that he pushed and crashed. Oh, they check up big time. Side by side by side, 3 rows deep for the lead. And Chris, it's only lap 25, by the way.
Yeah, that was incredible down the backstretch the way they pulled out pushing. You know, like We saw a little bit. Oh, as he's gonna wash up the track.
Take it easy, guys.
They're getting more and more confident every lap. They scared themselves after that wreck, and for about 10 laps, they just got back out there to make some laps, and now we're
Top
at that
side gets a big run. Carlos is loving this camera. Oh, it looks like they're about to turn each other. Here comes Dranowski on the bottom. Miller going to give a shot to Crump. As Dranowski gets him that lap. Lap 26 at a 160. Side by side again.
Yeah, and we're seeing that 7 just work up more and more and more here on the bottom side. But Scott's able to defend really well on that top side. It's going to take a big push. It's going to take somebody working with, another driver there and making that happen. And here we go, pushing once again. That 7's getting a big push down the backstretch.
Scott takes it easy going into the turn, gets a big run on the high side. Should have the momentum coming off. I like that old school logo on the back of the 7, just showing off his last name, Dranowski. Look at that fan, Chris. Do you see that onboard shot of that little fan running?
Yeah,
look at that thing. That is sweet.
All the difference.
Man, the car's probably what's the temperature inside that thing?
I don't know with that fan. That's like an air.
But that
65 degrees.
You got that open face helmet. That wind's just blowing all over you.
Yeah, can't be more than 65 or 70 in there. Probably need a hoodie.
That is amazing. Still side by side, guys. It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed for like the last 8 laps. Scott is a little loose.
Something's going to have to give here because every lap they do this, the guys on the inside are using more and more racetrack. The tires are getting more and more worn. You got to remember, a lot of these guys didn't take tires under that first caution. So these are, 25 green flag lap tires pretty much on these race cars. So these things are not driving good right now.
25 green flag laps on the tires. Also, 28 laps on a tank of fuel. We're going to get a good idea on how long they can make it on a tank of fuel. We had about 4 laps of caution as well.
Yeah, and who stayed out? We had one guy that stayed out.
Sullivan.
Right?
Sullivan, is that his name? Yeah, Joseph Sullivan. He's currently 13th, 1.7 seconds off. So we'll see when he has to come down for his fuel. I think we pitted around. There's the grid. Pit stops on lap 8.
And we did have some come back and top off. We did have that, so.
Looks like Gerald Campbell topped off. He's in 10th. He's the first car that topped off.
Gerald will be mad that nobody picked him too. He's gonna be,
I picked Gerald.
Oh, you did pick Gerald?
That's right. Look at that Back to the Future scheme. Thing is sick.
Best car out there. I have seen that trilogy many times. That's some great movie right there. What's your favorite? 1, 2, or 3?
The first, the original. What was your favorite thing about the 80s, Chris?
The 80s? Well, I wasn't there.
I enjoyed their country music. I'm sure you did.
Oh, I like some old country music now. 80s, 90s country, that's kind of my area. But I unfortunately wasn't born until the 90s.
I am a 90s baby as well. I think Carlos was too. I think we're all 90s babies. That was a good era for it.
I think Kiss had already been around for 30 years at that point, right?
I enjoyed the style, the clothing. I think it was awesome. Whether it was city clothing in the 80s, country clothing, cowboy clothing in the 80s, it was all sweet. Unless we bring it back. Guess what? We're side by side again.
Get in the car, turn on the radio. Waylon was playing.
One guy that keeps inching his way up through there. He was about 8th. Now and then he was 7th, and now he's approaching 4th. That's Tate Lytle in the days gone by. Chevy Monte Carlo working his way around William White. One of the best at saving tires.
Scott's starting to lose some track position here. It looks like that top side might finally be giving up, and we're seeing that with a lot of these guys, like you mentioned, their tape moving up through here, that top side I think has gone away. These guys have used their tires up there.
Look at
all
Tate.
of a sudden,
Calm as a cucumber up there.
everybody's working the bottom.
Working his way through the field. He's up to third. Tate Lytle's about to grab that lead. Sends it down into one. Got a hot rod.
Doesn't look like anybody's got the Bill Elliott setup out here tonight. Nobody's able to drive
Thank
away.
goodness. We wouldn't have anything to talk about. Joseph Sullivan still on the racetrack, has not pitted yet. Remember, he has 32 laps on his tank of fuel. Tate Lytle trying to work his way to P1. Let's see if he can send it down in there into one. He does. He takes the inside line. Shoots it down to the inside of the track. Let's see if he can clear him. Looks like he will. New leader, 56.
He took it on the bottom. Tate's one of the best guys at saving
Boom.
tires that there is. Does he go to the bottom down here? Does he go to the top to protect?
Here comes Scott Crump. Scott gives Tate a bump. That's probably not the best place to give somebody a bump. Middle of the turn in a old street stock, basically, that's going 200 miles. His bumper fell off. A big hit by Tate Lytle.
I mean, you won't know if you don't try, right?
Yeah. His whole
Maybe
rear
it'll
bumper.
work.
And now the bumper's back on. Unbelievable.
Ooh,
That's
a
a-
quick
that's-
fix, right?
That's the second time that Scott Crump has done something a little bit sketchy. That could have been huge, especially with this pack of cars, but Tate saved it, and he'll retain the lead.
Scott is not afraid to drive right up on the back of somebody, I'll tell you that.
I think somebody told Scott that he gets paid for every lap he leads.
Yeah, but the problem is he's not leading. He's pulling up on him too quick in the middle of the corner.
Not doing it right. Side by side again for the lead. It's Scott Crump, Tate Lytle, Mitch Jernowski. Basically, I think we'd have to say Mitch is right now the most consistent guy up in the top 5. He's been there the entire time. Josh Berry has hit the tire barrier. His day looks to be done as well over there in Chicago.
Yeah, there's not much time left in that race, right? About 15, 20 more minutes, maybe?
It's now
Excuse me.
it's a timed event, I think. Or they
Yeah.
might be racing the stage 2, or the end of stage 2. I got a few more laps. Check out this little breakaway. Mitch Jernowski, Jeff Byers have managed to put about a half a second. Don't know how long that's going to last, but that was interesting, and I'm not sure how it happened or what caused it.
I think as we see these tires wear and handling become more and more of a factor, you're seeing a lot less side by side, a lot more kind of a train kind of race. As we see, here comes Gerald trying to pull out and take a look.
Yeah, you have a pack of about 10 cars, the top 10 all grouped together within 1.2 seconds back, and then you have a little ways back between Cooper Johnson and Matt Gruenberg. That's 11th through 15th. David Duke has retired from the race. Richard Lafferty has retired from the race. They'll end up 16th and 17th. Small car count, Chris, but exciting racing right now in the top 10.
Yeah, these guys are putting on one heck of a show out here for us to watch and follow along with. So, as you can see, here we go for the lead once again.
And it's Jeff Byers taking the lead on the high side. Scott Crump looking his way around Mitch Stranowski as well. Scott gets a little tight there. Lifts off the throttle. Mitch goes way down to the bottom. Check out that lap time, Chris. Best lap time of 43.34. Jeff Meyer's last lap, 45.126. Crazy fall off.
Yeah, crazy fall off, but that's what we like to see. That's what helps us have some pretty decent racing.
It makes me want to be in this race to see that amount of fall off at Daytona.
Imagine if we were at a place like Darlington or something.
Maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds off.
It would be pretty incredible. As we get side by side, once again, these guys, they get lined up like they're going to get in line for a while, and they all go out double file. It's like they're waiting for the tires to cool down.
Scott Crump around the outside. Looks like he's going to lead this one, Chris. In Scott's mind, he's getting some sort of dollar bills by leading that. Scott Crump to the lead.
Yeah, and as you know, Scott Crump's a racer. He wants to race. He's going to run hard every lap. He's going to give it everything he's got every lap. He's not going to ride around somewhere and just be out there.
Joseph Sullivan, keeping an update. We're mentioning Joseph Sullivan's name because he is yet to take gas, and it's lap 40. He's still in the picture, running 14th, 2.1 seconds off the pace. That's going to give us a good read on how long these guys can go. Right now, hitting lap 41, and Joseph Sullivan still on the racetrack.
Yeah, and the longer he runs, the better it is for the guys that pitted to look like maybe they'll be able to cut a pit stop out. He might regret not pitting. But we will have to see how it shakes out and what takes place here. As it is double file up here, just like we started the race.
How about this? It was 3 rows back. Now it's 4 rows back. Double file, back to back to back. Drunowski on the inside, Scott on the outside. 7 car clear high. It's Drunowski back to the front. First time you've actually seen that Kelly Green car, that Philadelphia Eagles paint scheme of Chad Frankenfield. Chad's been mired in the back of that first pack, but now he's starting to work his way to the inside. Chad, typically somebody not known for saving his tires, seems to be doing a pretty well of a job working his way through there.
Yeah, riding at the back and just waiting, being patient. I'm not 100% confident that's Chad Frankenfield in that car.
I actually have a funny story about Chad today. He texted me and asked me, what the details were of the race, and I said, well, it's still 400 to win. And he replied back. He said, "Sweet. My wife said I need to win because tomorrow is Amazon Prime Day." So Chad's wife, I'm guessing she's watching, hoping that Chad's going to win this and get $400 for herself for Amazon Prime Day tomorrow.
Prime Day tomorrow. I had no clue that was coming. But looks like all these guys might know now. Everybody needs to get that $400 to go and buy themselves, maybe upgrade their equipment, right?
Especially for the upcoming league racing. We got the elite racing leagues coming up here in a couple weeks. $400 would be a nice little purchase to upgrade whatever you may want. Wheel, pedals, graphic cards in your computer, whatever it may be. It's a nice little chunk of change.
Right now, it looks like we've seen this 90, the 7, the 56. These guys have kind of controlled the race and said if we're going to win, you're going to have to beat us to do it.
Tate Lytle now back on the charge, working that inside lane up to second. Top 10 separated by 0.8 of a second.
Gerald Campbell with the big moment there off of 4. He had to lift, and it's going to hurt his momentum down the front stretch.
Frankenfield gets around. Dylan Thomas hits the apron, gets a little bit loose.
Great racing for this far into the run, this far on tires. 40-plus laps on these tires for most of everyone out here. It's good stuff to see this going on.
Approaching lap 46. We're going to take a quick break right here and come back and potentially see some green flag pit stops. We're side by side, Crump and Judowski. We'll be right back. Lap 50, we're back. Pit stop's about to happen. You might have just seen Joseph Sullivan come down pit road. Here's Dylan Thomas coming down pit road to make his first, or actually second stop of the day for Dylan Thomas. First stop for Joseph Sullivan. As it's Scott Crump still in the lead, Tate Lytle in second. Guys are on the radio. We're gonna see a big group of cars come down pit road this time.
So they're not quite going to get to that 60 lap mark that maybe they were trying to stretch to.
And it's Scott Crump, Dranowski, Jeff Byers all coming down pit road. Remember, Chris mentioned it. These cars don't have the best of brakes. Try not to slide the car into your pit stop.
One thing about those guys that pitted right there.
There he goes. Scott slides it into the stop.
those were the guys that led the bulk of the laps. So how much further can some of these other guys go? They didn't spend time out front, so can they go 2-3 laps? I don't think anybody can go 9 laps further to get to that lap 60 mark.
Well, with the caution flags, you know, Sullivan went around 47 to 48 laps. We didn't have a caution since then. And these guys are going 42, 41 laps. Tate Lytle radios in. He's coming down pit road. Some newcomers to the front. Gerald Campbell in second, Frankenfield in third. Frankenfield trying to make the pass.
Tate's got a nice lead here.
Down pit road. Slides it in. Still sliding it in. That's Tate, William White, James Miller, Hanshaw, and Matt Grunberg all coming in.
And there were 5.
New race leader, Chad Frankenfield. His wife will be happy. But it ain't over yet.
Yeah, not yet.
As he comes down pit road. Top of your screen, I think that is the lead group that has pitted. That's Janowski, Scott, Crump, Byers, and Dylan Thomas. We're going to see where they blend in with Tate Lytle and that group. Chris, as you know, some of the most exciting times on plate tracks is this moment right here, the blend.
Yeah, one thing here, Tate Lytle, man, he must have executed way better than everybody else. He's way out here by himself as Tate Lytle. They are going to run him down in the draft with fresh tires, but I mean, he got way out there.
They're going to eat him up quick. But that was, you know, you mentioned there, Chris, that was an awesome execution by Tate. And, you know, if he had a couple guys or just even one guy that executed just as well, they might have been able to, you know, maintain that lead.
Or even a lapper. Like, you just hope that maybe you come off and there'll be a lap car out there or something.
Frankenfield currently the first guy in line. Here comes the roar of the engines around Chad on the outside. Goodbye.
You mentioned people trying to get to the lead, or to that lap 60 mark. Well, here comes our last set of pitters, and that is it right there. Hank Steinmiller, Aaron Smith, Cooper Johnson. They're still 6 laps short of that mark.
That was the group that was kind of hanging out between 11th to 16th there, or 11th to 15th. Really, the names that we see in the top 10 are basically the same names that we've seen the entire race. You see Matt Grunberg in 10th. He's about the only one. He was hanging out in 15th and 16th with Hanshaw and Sullivan, and now he's broke the top 10, 1.5 seconds back.
And all these guys, they are loving it right now on these fresh tires. New tires, more grip, more throttle time.
Especially Chad Frankenfield right now, taking the lead on the bottom.
I will say there was one guy in particular who got hurt by this set of green flag stops. And that's Kyle Hanshaw. He has lost touch with the pack out here.
Interesting to see what happened to Hanshaw. He came down in the same cycle as Tate Lytle. He was last on that cycle. The draft doesn't matter as much, so it had to been an issue in the pits regarding Hanshaw. I can go back and look and see what happened.
Yeah, it didn't work out well for him. Joseph Sullivan, also appears to have lost touch as well. Aaron Smith looks like he's just hanging on, so we got a couple guys there.
Yeah, Hanshaw slid through his pits a couple times. Had some issues on pit road. That's what lost the draft for him.
That is not ideal.
Currently, lap 57, it's Chad Frankenfield. As the top three have broken a little bit away. You will see that, you know, Tate Lytle typically is a guy that comes on strong at the end. He's in 7th. Gerald Campbell came on really strong there at the end of the run. He's in 8th.
Yeah, and these guys, they're doing such an incredible job out here right now. We had that one issue, one little hiccup there early.
Second place, Carlos mentioned how much does second place earn. Hanshaw has stated that it is $100 to second place. Ten times your money. No, it has not changed. Battle for second. William White goes to second, goes to the lead.
He says if I'm down here to get second, I might as well go and get the lead too, right? It's going to be a tough pass, though. We've seen the 7 car do this earlier. He seems to be one of the guys that...
He'll let you go down there. He says, take the bottom. I'm just going to ride the top and get the momentum off.
Williams going to need some help. Here comes Scott Crump. We know Scott's not afraid to push.
On the outside, or actually on the inside, Scott Crump. Jeff Byers fighting for second. Lap 60. All single file right now through the top 10. Jurnowski all the way back to Steinmiller. Actually, all the way back to Matt Grunberg in 13th. They're single file.
Yeah, and we mentioned Hanshaw lost the draft. Joseph Sullivan has lost the draft. So it is just a 13 car.
Yeah, these guys are banking on a caution right now. They don't want to get lapped. Lucky Dogs are on. Wave rounds are on. We pretty much incorporated a lot of today's regulations and rules. So if these guys do get lapped, they still have a chance of getting their lap back with wave round or a Lucky Dog. Battle for the lead, William White on the inside. And everybody on the bottom trying to help William. They'll all venture up to the top out of 4.
It's just going to take a whole lot of help to make that pass from the bottom with fresh tires on these cars right now.
You're going to need help. Yeah, you're going to need help like the example that we shown, you know, about 10, 15 laps ago when Jeff Byers was really pushing people with the tandem on the bottom. That tends to get people around the leader. But with the newer tires, it's so hard to make any passes with no help.
I will say this, a lot of guys are approaching that 10 lap mark on the tires, so they are starting to feel the effects of the tire wear. They're not feeling as good as they were when they first came out of the pit road.
Chad Frankenfield with a crossover on William White. Sends it down to the bottom.
And who's loving this is Mitch. They're side by side for second behind him. He just sits out there.
Yeah, Chris, I was just going to say that, I mean, the clear-cut favorite right now has to be Mitch, right?
Yeah, you're going to have to pass him. You know, it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of help to pass him. We've seen it every time he's had the lead. It's taken 2 or 3 cars working together to get around him. It's kind of that old style pack Daytona Talladega racing that we used to see, where if there's a guy that knows how to do it and has figured it out and knows what he needs to do, it's, kind of for us, it's like Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon when they were the best plate racers in the field. They were so good at controlling the momentum and what was going on around them.
You needed teamwork to pass them, and sometimes that didn't even work. When it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon and the likes of those guys that had such strong runs in the early 2000s. And then if you go back to the 1980s, at Daytona and Talladega, it was Bill Elliott, it was Dale Earnhardt, Buddy Baker, Darrell Waltrip, all those guys. They were the top of the class. You had to work around to get them, and rarely did somebody different win those races back then.
I will say this though, when it comes to Bill Elliott, he didn't even have to know what he was doing. They just built a car that was faster than everybody else's, and it wasn't even close.
Bill Elliott one time got, what was it, Chris? He got put down a lap.
2 laps. He's down 2 laps.
Didn't even have a caution, and made all those laps back, and then almost ended up lapping the field again.
I think a lot of these guys would agree it's a whole lot easier when you've got the car that's the fastest one there that nobody else is even going to be able to keep up with.
Going back to the NASCAR side, it's 9:05 Eastern time, so 8:05 Central time. And it's Joey Hand winning that race.
Yeah, and apparently it's a fuel race over there now. Those guys have decided they're not going to pit before the end of this thing, and it's either going to run out of gas or they're going to be able to have a shot to win the thing.
If you're not watching, there's some names in this top 10 that's surprising for a road course. Joey Hand, I mean, not surprising, but I mean, it's not somebody that you think would be up there. And then you have Brad Keselowski, Hocevar, Stenhouse, and Gregson, some of the guys in the top 10. You see Gerald Campbell making his way around that. I'd like a shot of Jeff Byers' paint scheme. I think it's really, really America'd up. What do you think, Chris? What is that thing? Oh my Lord, there's the American flag number. I mean, you got flames, you got lightning bolts. I mean, a TikTok logo.
Yeah, I feel like everything's American until you get to that TikTok logo, like Carlos was just saying.
I want,
up,
and then you slap on TikTok. You got some Chevy Ford dealership. That is sweet. I want an inboard shot of Jeff Byers. He's probably wearing like like an eagle mask or something while he's racing. Like Gerald, he always wears that Pudge mask that he always puts on. Speaking of Gerald Campbell, he's fighting for the lead. He came out of nowhere on the bottom trying to pass Scott Crump. They've sent Drunowski back to 4th.
Yeah, we talked about how they were going to have to work together to pass him. Well, somehow, some way, they shuffled him. Now it looks like Gerald will be getting shuffled on the bottom. Seems like you need a place to land when you go down there. If you don't have it, you go backwards just as quick as you went forwards.
What do you guys say that we do an old school Tim Richmond interview with Tate Lytle under green flag? Tate Lytle, you got a copy?
I do.
We're going old school, Tim Richmond style, green flag.
Do I get a cigarette?
Do you have one?
No, I should though.
Tell us about your night. Take us around a couple laps here at Daytona.
Well, I'll tell you first off, it's like at least 85 degrees in this room right now. That kind of stinks, but I don't know. I've been trying to lift a little early, kind of point it fairly straight, almost like kind of diamonding it a little bit to get a straighter run off, save some tires, and saving a little bit of fuel right now too, just 'cause I figure there's no point in doing what Gerald's doing right now and what I was doing that first run until that last run, just because there's so few of us. But kind of just hanging out here, watching these guys race. Try not to get junked by Dylan Thomas behind me. I mean, the car's driving pretty good. I was able to do pretty well, I think, on the tires that first run. But it gets kind of plowy toward the end of the run, and they get hot. I mean, tires were 300, and inside of the right front was 330 degrees. So that's pretty warm.
Getting sketchy up there, Tate.
It is. It is. I mean, I think Mitch is going to be pretty tough to beat. Scott's strong. Jeff Byers, not real sure. I don't know if I've ever raced with him before, but he seems pretty strong. William White's been up here for the most part. Chad, obviously. Gerald's sideways right now.
I got a question for you, Tate.
What's up?
How hard was it to
My
pick?
lord, they're stacking
Did you
up.
practice at all? Deep pit stop that you had to make?
No, thankfully I did practice. I don't know if you guys watched my pit entry, but it was not very good. It was efficient, but I was four-wheel slide for probably 100 yards. I'm not very good at heel and towing, and you can't just blip the throttle in this car like you can the current cars. So trying to use the clutch, and then it was not good for me. We got it wound up. I'm gonna have to do it again here in about 25 laps. So.
Well, I'll tell you this, if you don't think yours was good, I hate to see what you're going to fix and take care of the next time, because we felt like you were the best one at it down there. You came out the other side with the big lead, just no help, and some of those other guys, they were 3 or 4 pit stalls too far.
Well, I mean, I guess that's good. Getting into my box was fine. It was more the getting to the entrance line. I was coming in pretty hot. So I just got to do a little bit better job this next time getting in there, and then try and hit my marks in the box good. But these brakes, these 1980s brakes kind of suck. So Chad's right front's gone. He almost tore down the wall in that ugly car. Oh, I just got William White a little loose.
Oh,
Got him a little loose there. I'm gonna probably hit the apron right here and get a little loose myself. Nope, I did not bad there.
oh, Chad's hard on the wall.
I told you
Chad's
that
day
right
is
front.
done.
Yeah, that right front had seen better days, dude.
Well, now the whole front's seen better days.
All right,
It's
Tate,
not
we're
there
gonna
anymore.
let you go and have some fun. We'll see you in a little bit.
This is a long race. We're not even halfway. I'm sweating like a you-know-what. The sun's out still because I'm west of you guys. And
6:11.
is that what it is for you?
I'm not
Yeah,
sure what we're seeing
yep.
on the broadcast here, but I see Chad's hood like stuck in his windshield here.
Yeah, Chad's day is done. He's toast. The whole bumper's off. I don't see the hood in the windshield though.
He was driving it for all it was worth, that's for sure. You could tell he was putting everything into it. I've been kind of just hanging out right here, you know, 2 tenths. The thing is, the draft's so strong, I could be up on Jeff's bumper by the end of turn 3 pretty easily. I think there is Lucky Dogs, right? Is there Lucky Dogs?
Yes.
Okay. Chad's curious.
I don't think it's going to matter as much as that car's missing. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's speeding
Yeah,
in the road,
there's
too.
no fast repairs either, unfortunately for Chad.
And he's
Yeah,
got
well-
the meatball now, yeah.
Well, so for I wish there was a few more cars, but honestly, I feel like we got a pretty decent group left. 13 or 14 of us, and hopefully we can, oh, I was just gonna say hopefully we don't have a caution.
Are we gonna get a blowover? No.
He saved it. He saved it.
It's
What a
Byers
save.
again. He just missed the cone. He's not gonna get a penalty. That's unbelievable.
Oh man. I thought I
Action
was-
all around.
There's only like 12 of us too, which is crazy.
Look at that straight face in the cockpit of Jeff Byers. Look at that guy, Chris. Look at him.
Tell you what, he did some driving right there.
It's the interesting thing is like one corner you'll be going into the corner at 203, and it'll drive pretty good for you. And the next corner you'll go in there with with a head of steam with some draft, be going 212, and it wants to die. So it's an interesting game. I really don't like where I'm at right now, but
How much
Yeah,
can you push from the guy in front of you? How much do you want to be pushed from the guy behind you?
you can hit. Yeah, I think you can push, but you just can't like slam. Like in the cup car, the nowadays cup car, you can just ram right into the back of that guy right in front of you. This thing, you turn him around. You can push, but you just can't hit him.
Yeah, because the only caution we've seen in this race so far was from a bump draft going wrong with Scott Coon.
Yeah, that was sketchy, that first wreck. Glad it didn't tear up too many people. Problem is we can't really afford any big ones because
Me and Chris won't have a lot to talk about if we have a big one.
Yeah, so hopefully that doesn't happen. At least till the end, maybe sparks will fly off a 4. We'll have a car flip it into the catch fence. And
We hope.
be door banging for the win. Hopefully I'm one of the ones door banging for the win and not flipping through the catch fence, but
I wouldn't pressure for you, Tate. But you're my pick to win this thing, so.
Well, you shouldn't have probably told me that, but I appreciate the love. I don't know if I had to pick somebody. The two people that have impressed me the most is obviously Mitch Dranowski, or I don't know, Dranowski. Not sure how you say that last name, but oh, why would you block it?
Oh, you gotta go down.
I know I can't though. It doesn't turn like that. Okay, now we lost the draft. Okay, come on, you dingles. Let's go. Okay.
Live raw emotion of Tate Lytle.
I will push him on the backstretch. He's probably got no right front fender, but
He cranked the wall.
okay, here we go. Big old push.
Boom.
Big old push.
Look at that motor, Chris.
How's his car going to drive when he gets to 3 with this momentum?
Not good.
Goes right around. Dylan is in some trouble.
I'm sure Dylan couldn't turn the wheel when they got to 3 as fast as he was getting pushed by Tate there.
Oh, we might set fast lap right here. We're gonna be hauling. Was that a 45-15 last time by, and I'm going 2:15 into 1.
Tate, you're a second off the leaders at the line. You're already 7/10.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The draft is unreal. I don't think we're gonna have fast lap of the race necessarily, but we'll be down to the 44s. Tire fall off's huge. After about 6 laps, it's pretty well gone.
Yeah, we noticed your best lap is a 43.78. Your last lap, 43.50.
Oh.
We got a big wreck. It's Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas and Cooper Johnson.
Well, this will be interesting for you guys. This will set up a fuel mileage.
Right at halfway.
Yeah, it's like 38, 39 laps. And I was saving enough there where I think I could have gone the full 40s, so might be a little interesting now for you.
All right, Tate.
And I will say that looked like a bump draft going wrong, and somebody
did.
was blown up. The 91.
I think
was blown
Hank
up.
got into the back. Hank got in the back of Dylan, but Dylan was off the pace. Shot him right up the track. Cooper Johnson had nowhere to go. Let's see what happens.
It's all lined up. That's a pretty straight push, too.
Yeah, he hit him straight. I think something was obviously broken with Dylan Thomas's car. But that was a big shot to the turn 3 wall.
And
Thomas
unfortunately,
Rex.
91, his night's going to be done.
Yeah, his night's done. Cooper was keeping it clean there, just hovering around, 11th or 12th. And, too bad Dylan did turn it back in there, but can't do nothing about it. Tate, I appreciate you coming up here. We're going to talk to you again.
Yeah, put me up whenever.
Well, that was pretty cool, Chris, having all that stuff happen while on board with Tate Lytle.
Yeah, and listen to his reaction. Oh, man. I'm sorry. I was looking over the shoulder at the cup race, and there was just a big accident, I think.
Well, they got 2 minutes and 20 seconds left before the race is over.
I think,
and it is Alex
Christopher
Bowman.
Bell's doing his Dylan Thomas right now. He's broken, and he's trying to get back.
Can those guys make it on fuel?
They don't know.
Carlos,
Yep.
you get hit with a copyright claim if you show that too, right?
Oh, and another Stuart Haas is just
They
man. It's
performed horribly tonight.
yeah, they have really struggled
Oh
here.
my gosh! Did you see John Hunter get up in the air?
Yeah, I had a good friend of mine, Josh Adams, tell me that there's Toyota and then there's Legacy.
We're under caution. Lap 82 out of 160. Scott Crump. He's the leader. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We are back. Pace car approaching turn 3. Cars double filed up. Gonna get the green flag here. And Scott Crump, currently the leader. William White second. James D. Miller in third. And Mitch Drunowski fourth. Tate Lytle, we just heard from him, in fifth. Rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, we're about to go green. Can Mitch get back up there and get control of this thing?
Pace car makes its way to pit road. And we are green past halfway, lap 184.
And your eyes are not playing tricks on you. There was only a couple cars in that outside lane. A lot of guys chose to come back and top off. You heard Tate say it there. This has turned into a fuel mileage race if it goes green from here.
Scott Crump using the bottom. Have a little bit of a breakaway with the top 5. Side by side. 2 rows back. There you see Cooper Johnson. His day's going to be done. He's just limping around. See William White taking the lead. Williams had a wild day. Wild William. Wild Willie takes the lead into turn 1.
Big push on the bottom, and here comes Mitch looking for the lead once again.
Trnowski takes it to the bottom. It didn't take long for Mitch Trnowski to get that lead. He restarted 4th. Seems to be the strongest car so far. Nobody's really been able to challenge him. As William White takes it to the outside.
And as we see this great battle taking place, Alex Bowman has won the Cup race.
Alex Bowman gets it done in Chicago.
And now the car is wrecked. Yep.
New face at the front. Hank Steinmiller. You saw Hank kind of hovering around 10th and 11th. He was actually one of the causes of the crash of the last caution. Up to first place on the high side with Scott Crump behind him. At one point, Scott and Hank back in the day were teammates. This has been a trend, Chris. Just like this formation right here. You know, first and second side by side, third and fourth side by side. If we're going to start forecasting the end of this thing, I mean, you got to imagine this is how it's going to look. If you're the third or fourth place guy, what are you doing? Or are you learning? Are you taking information right here, trying to apply it for the last lap?
Well, I think if I'm out here right now, and I'm the third or fourth place guy, I am trying to save fuel. I am trying to not abuse anything because, like Tate said there, it's going to turn into a fuel mileage race now if it stays green. So you just got to kind of wait and bide your time and hope to be able to make the pass late in the race. And we are just past halfway.
James Miller getting sideways. That tri-oval, it doesn't matter what car you're in, it's still a little sketchy. And it seems like it's a little bit more predominant in the 87 cars. You saw James Miller get loose there in the tri-oval.
Big push here down the backstretch on that inside lane. I don't know if you guys have seen what happened here in the Cup race, but Bubba Wallace might be getting in big trouble.
Tempers are flaring.
Yeah, he went up and wrecked Bowman on his cool down lap. With the window net down and Bowman's belt's already loose, that is not ideal.
Shades of Carl Edwards at Michigan. See if you guys remember that one.
That was a Busch race, right?
Yep. Still side by side, nothing's really changed. The only thing that has changed is 7th on back. Gerald Campbell is taking it easy this run. Tate Lytle taking it easy. Aaron Smith and Joseph Sullivan, we were mentioning him a couple times. He was on a different strategy. He's back up to 10th. Laps ticking by, lap 91 of 160. I think anybody that you can point to in this race has had something happen to him, whether it's William White battling for first, Scott Crump battling for second and third. You know, this is a small field, but everybody has had some sort of event that has almost taken them out of this thing.
Yeah, and we see Tate sitting back there with Gerald Campbell, being patient again, just riding it out. Tate's well aware that it could be a fuel mileage race from here.
Going to go through the list. Cooper Johnson has finally retired. The field is slowly shrinking. Cooper Johnson retired. Dylan Thomas off the pace, out of the race, and same with Chad Frankenfield. Chad Frankenfield, the owner, operator of the Elite Racing Leagues, and Chris and Carlos, myself, were all a part of that in some way, shape, or form. And if you're interested in following the Elite Racing Leagues, July 31st starts the qualifying for the Daytona 500 and the dual races for the Daytona 500 for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. And then August 7th, a month from now, it's July 7th today. So a month from now, the Daytona 500, the 11th running of the Home Place Beer Daytona 500 begins August 7th. That's a Wednesday. So tune in for that. I don't know if Carlos, you're not doing Wednesdays, but you'll probably be doing a number of days, I'm guessing, for.
Hey guys, I am gonna try the Cup Series. I fortunately had something come up at the last couple of weeks of the Cup Series season, so I wasn't able to make those, but I'm gonna try again this season. I'm gonna be running an ARCA, and I'm gonna be producing the Monday night Xfinity Series.
Busy man. And Chris, your suspension is lifted.
Yeah, I will be back on
Chris is back.
During Daytona and during Speed Weeks when it kicks off, and I will still be working with Carlos on Monday nights throughout the whole season there in the Elite Monday Night Racing. So I'll be racing and getting back in the booth there once again for another season.
One-off event tonight, but not a one-off for any of us. We're doing this thing quite a bit on a weekly basis. You know, some of us do it 2, 3, 4 times a week, it seems like. Some of us only do it once a week, but the Elite Racing Leagues will be hot and heavy here in about 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll be back to the grind.
And it should be fun. Johnny, you had a great run of races last year. Got you a couple wins in there, right? Didn't you win a Cup race and an Xfinity race last year?
Just the Cup race, which was a special moment at Rockingham. It was cool. We hope to take that and do something else with it. We felt like we had a really strong car at the end of the season, and hopefully that Cup side will be just as good. You know, had an awesome time with Mountain Man last year, and Kyle Hanshaw came to me and wanted me to get that program a little bit better at KHR. And I want to see Hanshaw succeed as well in the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. So I'm hopping on board with KHR next season and have an alliance with Mountain Man as well. And we hope to improve that side of things and also try to get me a little bit closer come playoff time and get out of that first round. That's what I'm trying to do, man.
Yeah, and hopefully you can. Unfortunately, my phone never rang in the off season, so I'm stuck at Mountain Man there still.
That's not a bad thing. It's a good group. We'll still be in the channel together, just a different team name.
No, I can't. I hope Mr. Robert Hill's listening, because anything I can do to get his blood pressure up just a little bit. It's a successful day for me.
You see Hank, he's the Lone Ranger up there up top, trying to get the job done. And Chris, you mentioned this earlier. If you want to get the bottom lane to work, you need help. And they got help, and they just made it work.
Yeah, and that helps, that 7 car. I think wherever that 7 car goes, that's where you want to be. That's what I would do. I'd be following him.
This is a one-off race, but people watching at home, I mean, I don't know what Mitch Drunowski does in his sim racing life, but I bet you he's turning some heads. And I don't know if he's interested in joining league racing on a full-time basis or part-time, but he's showing that he can run with some of these guys that are racing these things on a daily basis.
And who knows, maybe he's a ringer. Maybe this is what he does. This is where he races on the sim. You never can tell.
There he goes to the outside, William White.
I think that in that one move, he went from William White's best friend to his biggest enemy.
To now his enemy. Chris, what do you think about William White potentially winning this thing? You know, this is the Firecracker 400. William White being from England. Would it be popular? Would it be a popular win? I like William. He's always been a good friend of mine. But I'm just saying, would it be a popular win in the Firecracker?
I'll bite on it. I think that he is tired of hearing all that stuff this week. You know, us launching our fireworks, and he's over there in England, and you know everything that took place there in 1776. It's a frustrating time for William White. So he is going to try to stand up for all of England here and show us that England is still number one, and we need not forget about it.
I like it. I hope it comes down to Jeff Byers and William White.
Yeah, but I mean, Jeff's got that one sticker on the car that just it throws everything else off, man.
Here goes William for second. It's cool to see all the one-off paint schemes. These are custom paints, I know for sure, from the likes of like Scott Crump, Tate Lytle, Gerald Campbell, running these one-offs, creating a paint scheme. They all have painters that they go through, and it's good to see that they're giving them some business and they're putting some time into this. William White got really loose. Scott Crump backed off.
Yeah, and there we go. Williams going to go to the top with the 7. Scott's looking to the bottom.
I'm disappointed in somebody tonight. I told him to be more aggressive, and he didn't want to be more aggressive because he's putting the show on, and that's Kyle Hanshaw.
It ain't time yet.
He's hovered around 12th. He's hovered around the back of the pack the entire race. I said, you got to go up there and win that thing. He's like, but I'm putting on the show. And I was like, I don't care. Chad tries to win every week. He owns Elite.
Yeah, Chad's not afraid to cause a 25-car wreck.
Is he a race car driver? That's the question.
Who, Chad or Kyle?
Kyle. That's what Carlos put.
You know, and we should have a moment of silence too for Chad's wife. I'm not going to get that $400 for Amazon Prime tomorrow.
Probably a pretty quiet place in the Frankenfield household right now. As not only did Chad just waste 2 hours of his life, he has to go to his wife, and she's going to ask him how he did tonight, hoping that he said I won. And he's not going to say that. He'll say I wrecked on my own.
He might have to stay on the couch tonight.
Hey, we got 3 wide. That doesn't happen too often here. Let's see if it works. Oh, Jeff Byers backs off. He surrenders.
That's not the America I know.
Hank Steinmiller.
Are you okay over there, Connie? You all right?
Yeah. Hank Steinmiller trying to get around. I don't have a lot in me, but he takes the lead going into turn 3.
Hank's on the aggressive switch. He was that 3 wide battle there a couple laps or last lap. Oh, there he is, a little bit loose.
Got loose there coming out of the turn. As it still is Mitch Stradowski. Not sure how many laps he's led tonight, but he's definitely led the most. Scott Crump just put a big move into turn 1 on Hank Steinmiller. Crossed him up, and Hank's going to go back.
Scott going to try to pull out. He does not. They stay lined up.
There you're riding on board with Scott Crump right now.
Everybody up here running pretty single file for the most part.
Oh, Scott's typing, doing something. What's he doing there, Chris? What do you think he's typing?
I'm not sure what he's typing. Oh, big
We
bump.
got loose. You see him right there.
Yeah, he had
Somebody
those
got
rear,
in the back of him.
I believe.
Is Jeff Byers.
Yeah.
You fired him up, Chris.
Yeah, he must have heard me talking about that surrender down in the 3.
He's going to have a big run. Will he do anything with Mitch Jernowski? They're right on the back of each other. These guys can't wreck, Chris. We still have 54 laps to go.
Yeah, and I think what are we thinking here? About 110, the pit window's going to open, right? They went about 50 some odd laps earlier.
That's what it looks like. That's what I was anticipating when I saw, Scott getting on his keyboard, was maybe he was going to come down pit road, but that's not the case.
We could ask him if you want to bring him up here while he's racing for the lead.
You want to do it?
Hey, I'm game. I don't know if Scott's game, but we could ask him what he was talking about.
Scott's the type of guy, if he gets in a wreck while we're talking to him, he's going to blame us.
Oh, and he's the type of guy who's going to say what he thinks too. It'll be exciting.
All right, let's do it. Scott Crump, you got a copy, green flag racing at Daytona.
Yeah, I got a copy.
How's your car? What are you feeling out there?
Feel really good. Just trying to make this one pit stop strategy here. I don't know. It's gonna be close.
Our guy saving?
Yeah, I'm saving big time. Doesn't look like everybody up here is saving.
So we just saw you typing there. What were you typing? Were you trying to get with your buddies about pitting?
No, I was just looking at how much fuel and stuff I had. See if it's gonna work or not.
I'll tell you this, some of those boys topped off, and I think they're going to make it work, so you're going to have to figure out how to make fuel in there like Junior Johnson used to make something in those stills.
Yeah, that top off didn't really matter. You only lose like 0.1.
So what's it going to take to win? You got to pass that 7 car at some point, right?
I can pass them. I'm just trying to save fuel here.
What is Scott, what's the number you need to get to?
It's about 43 laps, I think. 40 laps.
Roger that. All right, Scott. Thanks for joining. We're going to keep showing you.
I got about 17 more laps before I got a pit, so I done saved a lot this run.
Currently
You got
riding on
17
board
left,
with Scott
17
Crump.
left in your tank right now?
Yeah, I've been saving like crazy since the start.
I mean, your math must have went wrong somewhere. There's only 51 to go at the line. You got...
Yeah. Yeah, we should be good. If I maxed it out, you can only do about like 38 laps. So you definitely have to save a little bit, but I'm trying to save as much as I can. That way, get a green light checkered or whatever. I don't have to pit.
I got one question before we let you get out of here.
Yeah, go ahead.
If it comes down to William White versus somebody else, because of the fact that he's from England and this week's all about America, are you going to be able to push that other guy instead of William?
Yeah, I think that might be a good game plan.
All right, Scott, thanks for joining us. Hope to see you soon.
All right, I hope y'all join the show.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's Scott Crump.
I love
Right
how
in the
quick
thick
he
of
agreed,
things.
too. Like he's already been thinking about it. Like, yeah.
We got a race on our hands here. Top 6. Side by side by side, 50 laps to go.
Yeah, and I think these guys are conspiring against William down here, too.
Jeff Byers. James Miller has been sideways, I swear, every single lap. He is laying it all on the line. He's that first car in the bottom lane, the 09, James D. Miller.
Hey, it's time for some good TV time, right? Takes that lead down there.
And as we are in a long green flag run, anytime we are in a long green flag run, we tend to see that 56 car inching his way up to the front. There's Tate Lytle, days gone by, up to P5.
I can't think of any sponsor who's been with somebody in the same racing world longer than days gone by has been attached to Tate Lytle.
Tate said it was 85 degrees in that room. I don't see him sweating at all, though.
his face does look a little bit red. Just a little bit.
Somebody needs to throw him a towel. Nice cold towel.
If I lived close, I'd drive over and wipe his forehead down for him on the stream and whatnot.
Let's hope somebody got that AC figured out for Tate Lytle. Top side, third car in line. This is the most vulnerable Mitch Trunowski's been, Chris. I mean, he's sitting right now 6th, about ready to get passed by Hank Steinmiller for 7th. Not the place he wants to be in.
Yeah, but maybe he's trying to save a little bit of fuel. Maybe he is a little closer. We heard Scott talk about how long he's been saving. Maybe Mitch just started and he has to make a little bit of that cushion.
Let's give a shout out to a guy I don't think we've mentioned at all today. He's participating in the Elite Race of Champions series, currently 12th. That's Matt Grunberg. If you're not familiar with Matt, you know, he's a multiple-time champion in the old 3-wide racing days. Matt is fast. He's always fast everywhere he goes. He's kind of went away from the sim racing world for a time being. Came back. It's awesome to see him run in this race, and awesome to see him run the race that Carlos has been covering with the Elite Race of Champions series. Matt's been kind of really quiet here tonight, I think just trying to stay out of trouble. And I guarantee you when the time comes in the closing laps, you're going to see Matt Grunberg up front.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys that have been at the back, you talked about wanting Kyle to be more aggressive. Well, they've probably saved the most fuel here. So as long as they can execute the pit stop, then they should be in the best position. We've just seen a lot of guys drive to the wonder. We're going to start seeing pit stops right here.
Pretty close call there for Scott Crump and Tate Lytle, the two onboard cameras we have there. I don't think Scott saw Tate on the bottom, kind of cut him off there, made a little bit of contact.
And this pack is tightened right back up, which tells me the pace of this pack is slowed down, that everybody's trying to save. Oh, Gerald's in the wall a little bit there.
Saved it. Gerald Campbell going to go to the back here. It's Tate Lytle working on Scott Crump for third. Going to go to second, too.
I think Tate said, I'm not going to save fuel down this straightaway. Everybody's running half throttle. Tate said, let me just put that thing to the floorboard and put this thing in the front. But Tate ran in the middle of this pack a lot long. Oh, Tate's in the wall.
Oh! The first mistake we've seen from the 56. Hard into the wall. Still calm, cool, and collective. We're bringing Tate Lytle up. Tate, what happened?
Oh, it got tight, baby. I was hauling the mail through the tri-oval, and I think I overestimated my ability through 1 and 2, and then by the time I realized I had lost talent, I had already lost it completely, and it was a little too late. But we're good. We're good.
Car all good?
Feels all right.
Yeah, you had a heck of a run there. You were up to 4th, up to 3rd, up to 2nd, working on 1st. When are you coming up pit road?
I'm probably gonna do like 124. I've been saving. Well, yeah, I got enough. I could go all the way to 127, but I don't know if I want to spot these guys that many laps on fresh tires. And that stank almost just got me. See if I can get another run on the outside. Oh yeah.
Do you think a lot of these guys have started saving? Is that really hurt the pace of the pack? Because the pack all of a sudden tightened way up here.
I just think that those of us that were saving are not anymore. And it is so tight on the outside of 1 and 2. Don't like that at all. I'm probably gonna put like 124. That'll probably, if I push, it'll get me all the way there. I can probably save enough for a green white checkered. Oh shoot! Billy White, red coat. I don't know where he's at right now. That
William White has blinked out. Oh, he's back. He's behind you.
That British internet was not doing very good things right there. I've noticed if you go full throttle through the tri-oval, you can pick up a lot of time.
But so you mentioned William White, so we'll ask you if this thing gets done to the end. You know, we've talked to some drivers here. We talked to Scott, and they all seem to want to work against William White since he is from England and over there, and this being
which is messed up. But I don't know. That's not messed up. I don't know.
I'm not going to push him to the win. That's what I got right there.
I'm going to push the people I know. So I'd probably, Hancha is probably number one, and then I know Gruenberg and Crump, and a few of these other guys. So I'll probably go with them first, and then probably William White over someone that I don't know. Is that a
There you have
PC
it.
enough? Is that a PC enough answer? Probably.
Sounds
I don't
like
know.
he's got
I
his
did-
American favorites out there is what I'm hearing.
I did call him a red coat, which I don't know if that's considered a slur these days or not, but
They're getting racy up front. Oh, there goes Scott.
oh, he got blocked. I was gonna push him, but I couldn't push him right into him. Yeah, I'm tight. I don't know what's different, or if maybe it's just the sun's out. But I got a lot less right in front this run than I did that first one. So
And we've been paying attention to Mitch Drnowski, and he
Oh, he's
seems like
good. I don't
he's
know
fighting
him,
the
but
same
he's
thing
fast.
that you've been fighting.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh, I got blocked. You turd! I should have Rusty Wallace your ass down the front straightaway.
So how are we doing in that room? Is it still that
Oh, it's
85
hot.
degrees?
Yeah, it's hot.
You need
Temperature
somebody to
has
come in and
increased.
wipe you down? You need like a little cool towel or something?
I mean, somebody can. I don't know if I'd love it if it was you, but that's the sun.
Dang.
Man, that was a burn right there on me, huh?
I don't know.
Well, Tate, we'll let you go
Hold on,
before you
hold on.
have
Watch
what?
this.
Oh, here he goes. He's gonna make the lead. Pass for the lead.
You like that? I'll probably hit the wall and turn two. At least I got the lead.
Chewbacca's it across the start-finish line.
It doesn't look like you got a whole lot of friends behind you. They all went with Scott.
Well, that's fine. I'm gonna push Scott right here. Big old push
You're
coming.
gonna have a big run off it too.
Ooh, ooh, ooh! Almost.
Oh, don't crash!
Yeah, that was. They're hot. My tires are hot, so. Not a.
Let's see if you
No.
get another run.
I don't know. I might be done with runs for a second. We'll try it, but I don't know if it's gonna do me any good.
There goes Tate Lytle up to the top.
Once again,
Is he
that
gonna
clever-
clear him? He clears him! To the lead. We'll let you go with that one. Have fun with pit stops.
Hey, thanks.
That's amazing coverage, guys.
Yeah, we accomplished a lot right there. We learned that he is not going to push William White.
He doesn't want you to give him a cold towel.
Yeah, he doesn't want me to come in and give him a cold towel, which is unfortunate. You know, I take good care of him. I did.
James D. Miller's down pit road, first car to pit. He's all by himself, which, whoa!
That's not ideal.
Not on the final pit stop of the day.
But it's clear. There's no black flag, so.
Cars
Could've
are
been
coming down pit road. Jeff Byers just radioed in. William
worse.
White,
Gonna be the
Hank
most
Steinmiller.
important pit stop of the night right
You
here.
can't make a mistake.
Tate missed the bottom. It's going to be hard to pit from the top if Scott's not coming.
Mitch Drnowski's pitting. Watch out for Mitch. First car on pit road. Hank coming in hot. Hank's coming in real hot. Hank's coming in hot. Steinmiller's probably going to get penalized there.
Clear on the flags. All clear. All clear.
Not only did he get lucky with that, but he cleared Drnowski.
Oh, but he missed his box. He's backing up a box and a half. He's still backing up.
Jeff
Everything
Byers.
he gained on entry is gone.
Missed his box, drove it in too deep. What I'm seeing is Drnowski hit it perfectly. He's going to be up and away. Tate Lytle coming down pit road now. Scott Crump down pit road. He's making a pass on Tate. Hanshaw down pit road. Woo! Hanshaw speeding on pit road, the 46 car. If he doesn't get a caution, his day is done.
Well, there was that aggression you asked for, right?
Not going into the pits.
Oh, and Crump is through a box and a half now as well.
Crump makes a mistake. Guys, this might be a race between Tate Lytle and Mitch Stranowski.
Yeah, he's still sitting there. He was all clear on the flags.
More pit stops. That's Aaron Smith coming down pit road. Grunberg has yet to pit. Aaron Smith. Sullivan gets loose. Gerald comes in pretty good.
Now, one thing going for Tate here is Hank left with Tate. And Scott's a ways back. Now, this might be better for Tate.
Need to pay attention to the race between Tate Lytle and Dranowski. Where is Dranowski? Here he comes with James Miller. He rockets by him. That's the lead right there.
Here comes Miller.
Grunberg down pit road. He had a full lap on those guys.
Gerald blending off of pit road here, going down into turn one. No, not what he's looking for. He's
Aaron
pretty far back.
Smith. All these guys are going to get past. Aaron might be able to latch on. And now the last person on pit road, Matt Grunberg. We're going to see where he cycles out. He's off and away. Kyle Hanshaw about to get lapped.
One thing that's happened here is I think these guys are spaced out enough they're all getting a toe off of each other. So I think even the Scott Crump group is going to come back together here with all these guys.
Grunberg did not have a good, either a good entry or a good exit. He's off of that pack. As that's the lead right there. Mitch Dranowski first. James Miller in second. Tate Lytle has caught the pack. Hanshaw squeezed in the middle. He's a lap down, giving way. He's the lucky dog if there is a caution. Well, not anymore because Steinmiller's passed him.
Here comes Tate with a big run. Nowhere to go, though. I'm going to tell you what, I think the fastest lap of the race is probably going to be ran by Scott Crump's group here in the next lap or two.
Scott is currently 2.7 seconds off the pack. William White managed to do a really good job off pit road. He's in fifth. He'll catch this pack.
Can we get a speed on Scott Crump here down the front stretch?
He's gained
running
0.7 of a second.
He is running 215. He's having to brake for turn one right there. He's getting such a toe.
His last lap was 43.69.
The leader ran up 44.68. And here he is again. Once again, Scott is flying down this.
Right in front of him, Kyle Hanshaw, lap down. Let's see what Scott can do with these lap cars. In front of Hanshaw is William White in fifth.
Here we go with the big speed. What's it going to be?
30 laps to go. Just a tenth off of the last lap, 43.79, 195 miles an hour in the turn, 193. Then you'll see the speeds exceed well over 200.
I thought Kyle was going to give way, then he pulled back up.
Scott to the inside of Hanshaw. Scott to the inside of William White. What a run.
Yep, we have 8 cars up here. If there's no caution, one of these 8 cars are likely going to win this race. Tate Lytle, Mitch, James, Aaron, Scott, William, and Jeff Byers, along with Joseph Sullivan, are the 8. We got those lappers mixed in there with them. We've got
Scott goes to the inside.
Like you mentioned, Hank's up in this group, so is Kyle.
Right now, he looks like he's on another level with the runs he's getting. I don't know if it's still from the momentum that he had, but he's putting them down right now.
And we do have to mention here, too, the 09. We saw him have that very exciting pit entry and managed to get right back out here with these front guys. So kudos to him for never giving up on that car, never giving up and conceding that he was going to get a penalty or something like that on the pit road, and sitting here with a chance to win it. He knows he doesn't have to do that again.
Tate Lytle leads it. Jernowski in second. Steinmiller might be trying to do the old-fashioned 1987 style, get back on the lead lap.
His biggest fan about doing that, too, is Kyle Hanshaw. Kyle says, get out there and pass him.
I want that lucky dog. Hank to the outside of Tate.
Oh, and he's in the wall.
Oh my goodness, he almost went down and collected Jernowski.
And that 7 tucked right up on the 56.
Joseph Sullivan has made his way to the top 5. As Tate Lytle has those 2 cars to work with, Scott Crump, Mitch Jernowski. If we'd have to talk about the class of the field, I'd say it's those 3 guys right there.
Yeah, and they got the 7 boxed in right now. Here he comes. He's going to get some help down the backstretch. He's going to get a big run. Does Tate defend? Does not look like it.
You know, Chris, if we don't get a caution here, we're going to have a shootout with this thing with guys on old tires, and it's going to be absolutely awesome to see what these guys can do on 20, 30, 35 lap old tires.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens, see how this shakes out. A caution right now, everybody would probably come get tires. Oh, and you see the 90 really tight on that 7. That's as tight as I've seen anybody run down on somebody this whole event.
Who's Byers going to go with? He tucks in. He doesn't know. He stays at the bottom, because everybody goes to the bottom. Scott really tight onto the 7.
Yeah, I think that 7 has earned the trust of Scott Crump, and Scott says, I'm going to run right down here against you and force you to make a decision. And that just happened behind him, too. That 76 forced a decision on him.
In the tri-oval.
And said, I'm going to go to the top.
Scott to the lead, 24 to go. Sullivan helping Crump. Oh, there we go. Scott Crump around.
I think everybody missed him.
There's a car in the infield. I don't know who it was.
It's Tate. Oh, Tate hard into the inside tire wall.
Tate's done.
Oh, no. Did Tate get upside down?
There's his cold towel that he finally got. But, man, Scott Crump losing it out of turn 2. Down into Tate Lytle, sends Lytle into the inside wall.
Oh, just so unfortunate for Tate. Sliding through that grass. Probably was just going to slide into the wall, but unfortunately Daytona's got that tire pack down there. And Tate just clobbers it in reverse.
See Scott getting a little wiggly there, loses it. Yeah, Tate can't do nothing about that. Nails the tire barrier and the inside wall. Good thing, or Tate would have been in trouble.
Yeah, we can see everything up in Tate's car right now.
Hey Chris, that's an old school wreck there, isn't it? I mean, that's two guys battling, just getting loose.
Yeah, and they're very lucky that neither one of them flipped. You know, with Tate having that big slide, when I cut to him and saw the roof damage, I thought maybe he got upside down, but it just hit so hard that his rear end went across the top of his race car, and that's how he got his roof damage. And I believe everybody's got tires left, right? Everybody's got one set left. So I think we're going to see him come
Should be.
They're
Sullivan,
get those tires.
First car on the pits.
Looks like Hank's going to get the lucky dog. Kyle might have to stay out and take the wave. But if they take off here and get another caution in 5 or 7 laps, if Kyle comes down and puts his tires on a little bit later, that's not a terrible situation.
Wouldn't be a bad strategy at all. You get a caution. There's 22 laps to go. If you get a caution with 10 laps to go and there's only 8, 9 guys left, that is the way to go. Sullivan out. He was the first car in the pits. First car out of the pits. Tate Lytle still on pit road, reporting that he is down on power as the rear end all mangled up on the days gone by Chevy Marnie Carlo.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Tate. It's not something you want to see. 2 guys going forward. I told you way back when this thing started that Tate and Scott would have a factor in the end of this thing if they were both able to be there. And
one guy that's been chilling here in the Discord, sitting in 6th place, he's actually hanging out in the infield care center room, which hopefully he'll never actually be in there, but that's Gerald Campbell. We're going to get a word with him real quick before we go green. Gerald, you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Sitting P6, 22 laps to go. Anything you can do to get that checkered?
Anything I can do. There's a lot of things I can do. And there's a lot of things I would do. What position I'm in? Well, that's a good question. It depends on where we're going to be at. Obviously, I think the preferred groove is going to be probably the outside at the front. It's a lot easier to control the momentum on the outside, as well as it is a little bit easier to be able to just kind of conserve up on that high side. So it just depends. I think we're going to see caution out the window. I think you're going to see a bunch of guys go as hard as they can, see what they've learned. I feel comfortable with those guys at the front of the field knowing what they've done. Some of the guys that have been sitting in the back, I've kind of been doing a little bit of both, but guys that have been sitting way in the back, if they get up there, I'm a little concerned as to what they may know as to what to do. Because there is a lot of arrow when it comes down to where to place it, when to lift, and we'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
Gerald, have you formed any allies? Anybody you liked working with tonight, or is it all out the window right now?
I'm a race car driver. I don't like any of these guys. When it comes down to it, yeah, I just, whenever it comes down to it at the end, I just race like I don't like any of them. And, yeah, some of them make it easier than others to make that happen. But you know me, Johnny. Do I race team-wise or you know how I race. I race hard, and if I get up to the front, you know who's going to be the hardest person to pass.
You race for Gerald. That's all that matters.
I race for Gerald.
I got a question for you, Gerald. You got any tires left down there to come get if we run 10 laps and get another caution?
Yeah, I got another set. Now, depending on where I'm running at, again, if I'm up at the front, I think track position is way more key. If I'm running in the same position I'm at now, yeah, I'll probably take those tires.
10-4. Good luck, Gerald.
Thank you. Have fun.
All right, Chris. 20-lap shootout.
Tate's got his rear end off back on there. I haven't given up on old Mr. Tate Lytle back there just yet. We're going to see some crazy things happen here, and nobody's out of it if they're in it right now.
Crowd up on their feet. Pace car down. Green flag. 20 to go.
Not a great start for that inside line.
Sullivan in first. Dranowski takes it high. He's going to clear him. William White trying to clear Sullivan.
And you know what's going to happen here, Johnny? These pushes, they're going to get a little deeper into the corner. Not going to lift off as early.
Little by little every lap.
That's right.
Scott Crump had a little bit of damage. He fixed it. Restarted in 8th. He's up to 6th.
Looks like Gerald's throwing the rope. Going to try to follow that, Mindy.
James Miller almost contact on William White. Sullivan back to the lead. He
Does he
clears
take the top away?
Dranowski on the. He should.
Does. Oh, crossover.
Oh! Dranowski to the inside. Will he get help from Byers? Byers gives him a shove. He clears him.
He's in the wall.
Sullivan in the wall. Manages not to cause any chaos. He's going to fall back to 9th or 10th. Aaron Smith clears him for 9th. Sullivan back to 10th.
Scott Crump up inside the top 3 now after all that. And looking for second.
Crump to the inside. He might be able to get a 2-for-1 here. Gets to the inside of Byers. Gets to the inside of Dranowski. They're side by side out of 4.
No help with Scott right now, though. He's going to need him to get there. He needs William White. And he said he wouldn't help William White earlier. He said if somebody else was out there, he would not help the redcoat.
Well, William White's a nice guy, and he's going to help Scott Crump here. You just see Jeff Byers sideways into 1. Scott's going to clear himself. Oh, my goodness, he does it. And he's going to get a run out of 2.
But now he's trapped. Now you put yourself not on the front side of the bottom.
He clears Byers, takes it to the inside. Scott Crump is the only Ford Thunderbird remaining on the racetrack.
Oh, they nearly get
He's
together.
going to get tight. James Miller back to the front. He gives Dranowski a shot. This is exciting racing, Chris.
Good stuff for sure. These guys are given less and less room as they come off the corner. The inside's pushing up, the inside staying tucked a little closer.
Scott got tight there into the tri-oval. He's having a tough time trying to make that pass there on the bottom. Just needs a little bit more help. And I think Dranowski has some good help. Oh, he's in the wall out of 2.
Gerald going to the top of 3 wide.
Campbell to
Gerald's
the top.
got a big push too.
Is Miller going to block it? He doesn't. Campbell to the top side.
Gerald has to lift and get back in line.
As they're still side by side. What's Byers going to do? He's going to have a big run. 14 laps to go in the Firecracker 400.
14 to go, and that inside line is starting to run out of people wanting to be down there. All the 09s.
Somebody hit the wall.
Again.
They're wrecking behind us. They're wrecking behind us. A big wreck.
I think everybody's straightened. Oh, no,
Caution's out. Not sure how many people got damage.
I think that was the 09 again.
76 looks good. Lots of smoke. Hank's car looks clean. Scott Crump, the leader.
Oh yeah, the 09
hits the wall. Took a nice little shot. Now, Chris, I don't think those guys are going to have too much damage.
Well, now what? Do you want the tires? Or do you want the track position? Because I feel like we were starting to see tires make a
I
difference.
feel like you got to come down.
Yeah, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to come down and give up the lead.
Good save, though, by Joseph Sullivan. I know he got turned around there, but really nice job. He got clipped in the most vulnerable spot possible.
I think Kyle Hanshaw is going to pit. I think this is what he needed. Tate's going to try to fix some more of his damage.
I'm gonna say everybody pits, Chris.
You think everybody?
Everybody comes down.
I don't think so. I think we're going to have. They do have tires, and we heard from Gerald that they all have a set left. But I think we're going to have 3 or 4 at least stay out, and then I think the guys that do pit, I think some guys are going to get 2. Bolt 2 right sides on. Let's see what happens. Are they all coming? Not William White. Oh man, if you're the only one, that ain't good.
William White stays out, and that is the only one who stays out. As William White radios in that he does not have tires.
And Scott Crump slides through his box again.
Matt Gruenberg slid through his box. Will anybody take 2 tires?
Nope, it looks like if you're there for 4.
Hanshaw away. Drunowski first, Byers second, Crump, Hanshaw. 4th car.
Better tell Kyle. He's going to restart 5th. Let's get up on it and get some right here. Let her eat. I think William White is a sitting duck. I think if he had 3 or 4 cars with him, he might have a fighting chance, but being the only guy that stayed out, the only guy on old tires, I just don't even think he's got a fighting chance here with these guys. I am getting a report, Johnny.
What's that, Chris?
They lost a set of tires in this race. They believe that the rest of the teams all came in and threw their tires out in the ocean.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. Something about a reenactment, some kind of Boston Tea Party deal. I don't know.
Poor William when he goes back and watches this broadcast. It's all in good fun. Well, we're setting ourselves up for potentially a 10-lap shootout for a good chunk of change. As the top 5, William White, Mitch Drunowski, Jeff Byers, Scott Crump, and Kyle Hanshaw. Gerald Campbell in 6th, Aaron Smith 7th, Matt Gruenberg 8th, Joseph Sullivan 9th, and James Miller in 10th.
Tate's getting back up to speed here. They put a lot of that car back together. We'll see what kind of pace he's got. It's still sounding pretty sick though. So do you think, Johnny, was that our last caution?
Chris, I don't think so. I think we're going to have one or two more, in my opinion. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. That obviously the strongest guys in this field was Janowski, Crump, and Lytle. Lytle damaged, wounded. Janowski, Crump, still up there. Everybody on fresh tires. It's going to be full throttle, wide open for the most part for these last 10 laps. Working their way out of turn 3, out of turn 4. Here we go, Chris.
It'll be exciting. I like that top lane. I like those first 3 cars in that top lane, and I like the fact that they all got 4 new stickers.
Green flag, 10 laps to go to decide it all. Janowski missed the shift.
Did he miss a shift, or did he get his rear end picked up off the ground?
And they all managed to save it. William White, he's in good shape now, but he, in a lap or even a half a lap, it's not going to be good for William White.
And they're still 3 wide in the pack.
Everybody managed to save it. They're 3 wide. 4 wide for second. As they approach William White, it's Scott Crump up top, Byers in the middle, Hanshaw down low. Huge run coming from Scott Williams sideways. There we go, and there's a crash. William White, Jeff Byers involved. Just too big of a gap between first and second. You knew it was going to happen, Chris.
Yeah, and I think when they got there, William wasn't ready for the pace pickup. And that time through 3 and 4, it looked like he was doing some driving, and he finally got a little bit too far behind on the steering and lost her. I think that's just old tires versus everybody else on new tires.
Oh.
I will say this, if Carlos backs it up a little bit more, it started way back before that. Back out of 4 there.
Here he goes. He's fighting it like you said. Loose. Gerald comes down.
I'm going to tell you, that car right there we're looking at spinning, he did a great job taking care of William for as long as he did. Like, he did everything right, backed
That's
off,
Jeffrey Byers.
let William catch it, and then he paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Then Gerald comes down, clips him. Still an awesome job not hitting that inside wall, though. You see that a lot of times when you get wrecked out of turn 4.
I'm going to tell you another car that did a great job there was Kyle Hanshaw. Kyle did a great job in panicking and overreacting. The car spinning out all around him, too.
Whoa, Tate Lytle. And when it comes to William White, you know, it's about the same contact that Tate had. Tate had around 2 minutes of damage. And he's down on horsepower, so let's see what William White is going to have as he's in the pits right now. What a wild lap.
Even the restart was crazy there, like we saw happen. Like, I'm not sure if the 7 spun his tires as much as the 90 was just ready to go and jacked him up.
These things won't go through the gears as easy as, you know, the cars that we race on a weekly basis, but we haven't seen any stack-ups. So, you know, it could be just that Scott got into the back of him, lifted his real wheels off the ground, And that's what stacked him up. Or he missed a shift.
Yeah, I just went back and looked. It looks like the 7 pulled ahead of the 43. I don't know if the 43 let it happen or the 7 did it on purpose. Either way, when they went, you know, the leader has to get there first. So the 7 had to kind of hesitate, wait. And when he did, the 90, when that green came out, the 90 said, "I'm no hesitation here. I'm going."
Now the top 5, Scott Crump, Gerald Campbell, Mitch Stranowski, Joseph Sullivan, and Kyle Hanshaw. Most likely going to be 6 laps to go when they get the green.
And Tate's down here trying to fix the rest of his damage. His car's starting to look like a race car again. Pretty cleaned up. I think we have not seen the last of Tate Lytle just yet.
We've seen crazier things at Daytona. We're coming out of turn 4, 8th place may end up winning the thing. So if Tate is just in this thing and in the pack, coming to the white flag, he still has a chance. Lights are off on the pace car, 7 to go. Scott takes the high side.
Top, yeah. You think that's a little bit of him thinking the 7 might jack him up? They might have had some kind of disagreement?
I think it's him saying he doesn't want the 7 car being in second as they get into turn 1. I think he'd rather have Joseph on his rear and maybe even Gerald on his rear coming out of turn 2.
It will be interesting. Cloud cover coming back over the speedway. That's going to cool this track off just a little bit. Make for a little bit more grip here for these guys.
William White off of pit road. He's in the pack. Showing right now in 9th.
And without
Jeffrey
the ability,
Byers back.
without the ability for William to get tires, now they've got to spin on them. They were already old. William did not want to see these cautions here at the end of this race.
A fun event. It's going to be a fun finish as we get 6 laps to go.
Going to wrestle this lead away from Scott Crump. We'll see if anybody's able to do it.
Here we go. Will this be the last restart? Scott Crump, green flag, leader, 90 car.
Big jump for the top, and Gerald's got no friends.
There goes Dranowski up top. He's going to clear Campbell fairly easily. Now what does Joseph Sullivan do? He might not be able to do anything. Here comes Dranowski on the high side.
Yeah, I think if you know the top's the dominant lane, you got to protect your right rear a little better than that.
You can't keep a good man down, and that's Dranowski restarting in 4th on the high side. Trying to get around Sullivan. And Scott Crump. Oh, he clears him again.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get away with that.
A
block too many
huge
times.
block by Scott Crump. Scott's loose. Dranowski's got to clear him. He gets tight. Side by side.
Man, there's lots of aggressive pushing now.
Sullivan gives the 7 a shot in a turn 3.
3 wide behind him.
3 wide as Aaron Smith cracks the top 5. Crump with a big push from Campbell. He blocks again on Dranowski.
And that opens up the top for Gerald if Gerald can get the run through this corner.
They're 3 wide for the lead. Gerald lets off. They're wrecking. It's Aaron Smith. A blowover. He's up and over. Caution out. 4 to go. Holy smokes.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't think Scott's making too many friends out here tonight with these blocks. I mean, he just kind of carried Gerald up into the wall right there.
And there he goes. Up and almost over. You could tell that Scott was just losing the handling on that 90 Ford as Dranowski was putting some moves on him. And it's going to be pretty hard to beat that 7 car now that he's out in the lead.
Yeah, but based on what we've seen there, Scott's gonna be willing to do whatever it takes.
And Chris, would it be a Daytona race if we didn't have a green, white, checkered?
Yeah, and I was just thinking these guys are lucky to have a green-white checker. They didn't used to have green-white checkers. So it would not have been a surprise if they didn't get any green-white checkers tonight, but you said we have some, so... we do have some pitters.
Some guys probably going to fix some damage.
Tate must have all his damage fixed. He's staying out.
Aaron Smith coming in. Kyle Hanshaw, Jeffrey Byers. And like every plate track, the end turns to chaos.
Yeah, that seems to be the theme nowadays. Do a little less lifting at the end, get a little bit more aggressive. A lot less give, a little bit more take.
Well, right now it's turned into the Firecracker 402.5. Bonus racing here on 3 Wide TV. While we're in a break, just a quick shout out again. If you weren't listening at the beginning, this is an event put on by Kyle Hanshaw. This is the KHR Firecracker 400. Kyle put a lot of time, a lot of effort into this. We thank everybody for watching. Thank everybody for racing. Thanks to 3 Wide TV for the production. Thanks to Chris for joining us here, being a part of the booth. And another shout out to ERSCA. We don't know when ERSCA or if ERSCA will be back, but this is a one-off event. It's cool to put that name back into iRacing and back onto the track, as I think pace car's lights will be off, as Dranowski will take the top. Scott Crump files to the bottom. What do you think here, Chris?
I think we're only going to get to use one of these. I don't think we'll need another one. I think it's going to be exciting. Our leaders once again pick the top side here. I think Scott showed that he is going to do whatever it takes, and if that means there's a little bit of contact at Daytona, there's going to be a little bit of contact. It's going to be exciting. We're going to see who has the help. We're going to see who gets the best pushes. You know, you got Matt up here now. Gerald's still back there. Gerald's going to be frustrated about what happened there off of turn 2. He was sitting there with the chance to try to take the lead, and I am sure he feels like that was taken from him.
Matt Gruenberg, second car, top side, the yellow 54. I don't think he showed his hand. We're in overtime. He's well past it, but he's going to have a great opportunity here if he can get a good start and give Jernowski a good push on the outside. He may have something to contend for the win. But it all depends on the start here as we approach turn 4 for our first
if you think
of
tires
3
gonna make a
green white
difference,
checkers.
too. You know, we had, 3 guys come down and put on the last set of tires, Kyle Hanshaw being one of them, so I don't think they'll make a big difference because of all the cautions we've had, but hey, you know, it's a
Might come into play if we get another one, you know, and Hanshaw works his way up to, let's just say, 4th or 5th. But here we go. 2 laps to go to decide it all. Green flag. Big start by the 7.
Oh, that might be too good of a start.
Can
That might
Scott
be
clear the
good.
54? He stays low. Gruenberg on the outside. Both those guys are going to have a big run coming out of turn 2. What is Jernowski going to do? They split him. It's Gruenberg on top, Scott on the bottom. Jernowski falls back to 6th. Matt Gruenberg on the high side.
That was not what the 7
What
needed.
is Scott Crump going to do? Will he be able to get back to the 54? Out of 4, coming to the line, 1 lap to go in the Firecracker 400. They're door banging. Side by side again, it's Scott Crump to the inside of Gruenberg. He pushes Gruenberg high. Here comes Sullivan. They're 3 wide out of 2. Gruenberg in the wall. Crump, Joseph Sullivan. Crump with a big shot, they're wrecking. Joseph Sullivan. There's calamity in 3 and 4, but it's the 76 all by himself. Joseph Sullivan out of 4 to the line, the winner of the Firecracker 400. What a crazy last lap.
Wow. Wow, that's all you can say about that. We're still waiting on everybody to come across the line. Mitch is going to be 3rd. Tate's going to be 4th. Kyle Hanshaw is going to be 5th. Aaron Smith. Jeff Byers. Hank. Matt. William. Scott is how they finish. And James Miller will never get around to the checker.
Wow. Joseph Sullivan coming away with the win.
What a crazy race, man. Looking there at that crash, it looks like Scott was kind of high, left the middle open. The 09 went for it. Scott, another one of those blocks, finally about 5 or 6 blocks in there for Scott, and he got turned there off the nose of the 09. What a last lap.
What a last lap. And an amazing job by Joseph Sullivan avoiding all of it to get the win. Crazy final lap.
I mean, the move for Sullivan was done on 1 and 2 too, right? Like, Scott went down in there and he tried to run up the racetrack. I'm guessing tried to run up the racetrack. He might say that he got tight or whatever. We'll have to wait and see. But he just ran right up the racetrack there into the 54, trying to squeeze him. And the 76 just turned left around the bottom. Was 3 wide down the back, and you know it all happened beside him and behind him.
The 9 car. The 09 car, James Miller, gave Scott a big shot. It would have been a really wild race to the end if the 90 held his line. But he pushed up on the 54. 54 lost momentum, and then the 09 came and had a huge run, and that's when it went wild.
And who would have thought Tate was spinning down the back, probably thinking he'll be finishing last. Tate gets all the way back around there to finish 4th. So by spinning there before everybody else did.
Here's the rundown. Joe Sullivan picking up the win. Gerald Campbell 2nd, Mitch Stronowski 3rd, Tate Lytle 4th, Kyle Hanshaw 5th, Aaron Smith 6th, Jeff Byers 7th, Hank Steinmiller 8th, Matt Grunberg 9th, William White rounds out the top 10, Scott Crump 11th, James Miller 12th, Cooper Johnson 13th, Dylan Thomas 14th, Chad Brankenfield 15th, David Duke 16th, Richard Lafferty 17th, the last car that participated in the event, and then Sheridan Wade did not get to start, rounds out the field in 18th. As we're going to hopefully drag some of these guys up to the booth. Let's see if we have anybody here waiting. We're going to take you back to the last lap here, Chris.
Yeah, and there you see it out in front. They're running 3 wide.
Grunberg gets the wall, so Scott really didn't push up.
Yeah,
Grunberg lost his momentum there.
Right here, though, that causes the second wreck is Scott tried to block a little further down the straightaway. And taking a look here, Kyle sees the first wreck. And then they get the second wreck.
Oh.
Kyle gets a piece of it, but he's going to keep coming. She might not be broke, but there's not another one of these races next week, so go ahead and...
That's all that matters.
There's some guys trying to just get to the end.
Just so many good runs, just up in smoke, and that's Daytona. It don't matter if it's the 1987 cars, the ARCA cars. That tire went flying. There it goes. There it goes. It's faster than Scott.
Oh. It's still rolling. Look at that, straighten right back up.
Man. Well, Chris, you want to do some interviews?
Yeah, I think
we got Gerald and Joe. I'm going to start with Gerald first, 2nd place. Well, Gerald Campbell, P2. Gerald.
Yes, sir.
So close, but so far away. 1.8 seconds away, actually.
That's not that close.
Daytona always is calamity. And what could you done anything different there on the final 2 laps on the green white checker?
I got the Back to the Future car, but I don't want to go back. I'm tired. I'm hot. My AC went out at my house. Temperature's 83 degrees in my room, and my back went out. So even though I've got the Back to the Future car, I'm ready to call it a night. I'm satisfied. P2nd, I still get some money, I think. So.
Yep.
Maybe a thicker front bumper, so I could have plowed through those guys at the wreck and kept on going. But it did well enough. I kept the steering wheel somewhat straight, even though it got plowed hard and everyone behind me got taken out. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You could have placed yourself in any position there. I mean, 76 was in the back for the majority of the race, and he ended up winning the race perfectly. So I mean, what strategy do you go with? It's just kind of you almost have to luck into a great position and then capitalize. That's what the 76 did, and I capitalized enough to get 2nd.
Take me back, Gerald, to the run right before that green white checker when you were looking for the lead. Did you feel like you were there? Did Scott have a right to shut that door like that? What were you thinking there?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You were looking to the outside of 3 wide for the lead, and Crump just kind of slid up.
Oh, I mean it's. I mean that happens. I mean it is what it is. I mean we didn't wreck, so I mean it's hard racing. It's unfortunately there's a lot of money. I don't really race for money, so I just do it because it was something to do. I haven't raced in a little bit, and you know, would he have made that move if money is not on the line? Probably. It is Scott Crump. But you know, it is what it is. We come here and we race hard, and people make a lot of moves. I made moves that probably didn't please a lot of people, and you know what? It is come home with a P2 and just be happy with it. I guess there's gonna be some people that aren't happy where they finished, but I'm not gonna be one of them.
Well, Chris, my pick finished better than yours.
Who'd you pick?
You.
Why'd you do that?
I remember how fast you were in these cars back in the day.
I was fast a long time ago. Back to the Future. If we go back in time, we'll find out when I was fast. I was good at these things for a while, but then they kind of changed a little bit. Daytona still feels pretty nice, but some of these guys have a lot of experience. I think the 76, when he gets on, he'll tell you he just did a race of these not too long ago, full distance. So some of these guys are really comfortable. I haven't been in one of these in quite a long time, so it was a learning curve. I knew how to be able to, if you can believe it, start with a clutch and everything. Some of those guys like Chad Frankenfield, I don't know if you brought that up, couldn't figure out how to drive with a clutch. So this car scared some people, but I at least knew how to get off a pit road. Chad Frankenfield's not one of those, though.
Gerald, you got any shout-outs before we let you go? Anybody got a thing?
Back to the Future, Scott, Doc Hudson. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Chad Frankenfield for having you have to restart a lobby because he didn't know how to push in a clutch and drive off a pit road. Shout out to Chris. Man, I don't know. Shout out to the money I'm gonna blow on. I don't even know how much money did I win. Did they tell? Did they say?
I think it was $100.
I won $100. That's not bad. I'll take that. I mean, that's
a nice dinner.
To pay for my chiropractic appointment tomorrow. So that's great.
Because of this race?
No.
Gotta get stretched out. Been in a cockpit too long.
Talk about cockpit. I'm in 83-degree weather. The cockpit is sticking.
I tell you what, if you need stretched out, I know a guy.
To what? What? I don't want to pay for
All
that.
right, Gerald. We'll see
Gerald,
you around.
Quick question: would you be okay if Chris came over and
No, I don't want
your
Chris
head off
coming
with
over.
Chris? You're 0 for 2, man. I'm sorry.
A cold towel.
He's not coming over to stretch out or whatever.
No,
just said.
to wipe the sweat off your forehead.
I said I know a guy. I'm not that guy, Gerald.
How do you even know the guy? That's what I want to know. I can honestly tell you, I don't know a guy that will stretch out for me for $100. So that's another thing to be thankful for tonight. Happy 4th of July, folks. Yippee.
Thanks, Gerald. Great
All
run.
right. See ya.
Wow. Chris, do you want to handle the winner, Mr. Sullivan?
I don't know. I don't think I got a whole lot of friends out here, and I wasn't even out there to make anybody mad. But here he is. Joe Sullivan wins the race. Joe, talk to us about your night, the strategy you played, and how did you win that thing there on that last green white checker?
Well, you know, what a race. I mean, what a great finish. I know a lot of guys got wrecked up there, but it was exciting to say the least. You know, you guys probably saw me a lot in the back there at the beginning. I just like to stay in the back and try to stay out of trouble, especially with these circumstances where there's no fast repairs. So if you get any kind of damage, you're just playing catch up at that point. And then I didn't pit there on that first caution, and I thought my race was kind of screwed after that because we went green for so long. So then I was really playing catch up, just trying to get back on strategy, but we got that caution halfway, and then we, it's about the time where I kind of start getting closer to the front with these long races and trying to get up there, and we were leading the race there at that one restart, and that thing just got so tight on that one turn, and I crushed the wall a little bit, and luckily it didn't hurt it too bad, so we were able to get that fixed, and just kind of just got lucky, I guess, at the end. I mean, we were in position. You put yourself in a position, especially at these, Daytona and Talladega. You just have to be in position, and you just have to have luck fall your way sometimes.
Well, Joe, you are kind of in this field and an unfamiliar face. There's a lot of familiar faces from 3 Wide TV here, and you joining us. Obviously awesome that you signed up and you ended up winning this thing, but you were a face and a name that we weren't really recognized. And are you familiar with these 1987 cars? Do you race them a lot? What is your experience level with the 87 package?
To me, if iRacing only had these cars, that would be just fine with me. These cars are, to me, this is about the only thing I really drive. I'll dabble some other stuff, but I just enjoy these just by a mile. And it's funny, kind of, but I just got done doing this event, like almost the exact same layout, like 2 weeks ago, for another league that I'm in with Core Racing Network. We did the pretty much the same circumstances, full race, 5 tires, but we had a couple fast repairs. But so that was just 2 weeks ago. So I ended up like 12th in that race, got into some damage at the end, but and I seen this, and I was like, I mean, perfect. I mean, I just got done doing it. I'm gonna get signed up, and I got Jeff signed up, and got David Duke in here too. So got some extra guys in here, and yeah, just these cars are the best to me. I mean, in my opinion. I mean, everybody has their own car that they like, but I love these cars.
Chris, he's a ringer.
I wouldn't say
ringer and mission accomplished, right? So.
No, awesome job, Joe. This is the first ever, ERSCA, KHR, Firecracker 400. We hope to be putting more of those on. But anybody got to thank, before we let you go? And big prize, sweet trophy. It's a good night for you.
Yeah, I'm excited for the trophy. I do a couple of events in the 87s, and I think I'm gonna incorporate that into next year. I always do a Coke. We do a Coke 300 that I put on. I promote kind of pretty much myself, and well, I mean, I put it on myself and through the league that I'm in, but I definitely want to get a trophy for that. And but just thank Core Racing Network, Core Racing League. I'm involved with them. Thank you guys for putting this on. I mean, what a great race, great event. I love the Firecracker 400. I mean, that's the Coke 600, the Firecracker 400. I mean, those are staples in the old history of NASCAR to me, and just yeah. Shout out to my wife, my family for letting me do this. Everybody watching, supporting me, mom, dad, my sister. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. This is a blast, and let's make it bigger and better next year.
Awesome, Joe. Well, take care. Congratulations again, and hopefully we see you soon.
All righty. Thank you.
That's Joe Sullivan, the winner. First ever KHR Firecracker 400. Chris, any closing thoughts here tonight?
Man, it was a great race. We saw a lot of green flag stops, a lot of green flag racing. Seen what we thought we'd see in those last 25 or 30 laps, but I just want to thank you, Johnny, and everybody over there at ERSCA for putting this on and asking me to come out. Kyle throw this together. You and Kyle have always been real tight in being able to do all this, and let people know that ERSCA is just kind of waiting to come back. They're not back all the way yet, but a couple of these a year, and who knows? Maybe one day the pressure will be put on you to bring ERSCA back in some form of a season here and put something together. But I always appreciate getting to work with ERSCA and getting to work with you, Johnny, and I appreciate that you guys thought of me when you were putting this together.
That's right. Well, thanks again to Kyle for putting this on. Kyle Hanshaw, KHR, Carlos, Chris, 3 Wide TV. Maybe one day we'll see you again, but for sure, stay tuned to more 3 Wide TV coverage, along with more Elite Racing League coverage. Signing off.